one, it doesn't make sense for them to do that career wise. You know, their careers would be totally ended, which mine was, by the way. Like, I have no business contacts in the aerospace industry at all. Like, pariah, absolute pariah. Totally had to change my niche. But and I was just social media, you guys. Like, I wasn't an engineer or anything. Like, and engineers are so funny. Like, and you guys already know, being in the space, like, they're so egotistical. And I like to call them deception. And people have, and look into that, by the way. How many people have gone in federal prison for sharing aerospace technology proprietary information? Yeah, there's a lot. The guy that the founder of the company that I worked for, he had worked for a company called Mir Corp, which was a startup company, and they tried to buy the Mir space station, and to sell it to the Russians. And yeah, federal prison. And now go find out what he's doing. It's high altitude planes, high altitude satellites, pseudo satellites, right? And so it's like, okay, you can still work, but you need to keep your mouth shut. You can still make money, but keep your mouth shut, kind of thing, you know? So it's a creepy world.
Yo,
This is
that's
coming directly from someone like who is like literally has firsthand like experiences with the same organizations and questions, guys. So really deep, Jasmine. We was about to say something, Piazza. Was that you?
yeah.
Oh, I threw some topics there in the pill, by the way. I'm just, springboarding. If anybody wants to weigh in on any of that stuff, I'm totally down for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to like touching on what Jasmine just said, in order to work on almost anything of energy or defense or uh, surveillance significance within the aerospace uh, industry, you have to basically sign NDAs, and if it's government affiliated whatsoever, you're probably going to need a clearance. Uh, and so that makes you subject to all the regulations governing those things. So I mean, she's not wrong about being able to be imprisoned if you abuse your knowledge of these matters. Of course, like as a normie, if you're a person who's a normie who's on the outside who's not seeing any conspiracy involved, right? Because I don't think that the majority of people who work in aerospace like know about this. I still think it's a very small number of people, but either way, you wouldn't see anything necessarily wrong because to you it's a matter of national security or keeping America ahead of its competitors, or and there is some merit to some of those arguments, but in that same vein, there are and must also be a good number of people that are in high positions within these industries that do know what's going on because they have to have people that directly know work on the like the top of the top technology involving these matters, like the research bases in Antarctica working on, you know, deep underground neutrino detection and uh, super high altitude satellite propulsion technology, and like those types of people who are in the loop at the top would be the ones who have to know. But they're probably so involved at that point they've already gone under psychological profiling, fitness checks, like all kinds of stuff like that. But you don't get there accidentally. It's after a lifetime in the industry proving your loyalty and your fealty to everything before you're entrusted with any of that to be able to work on it. So don't think it's a
That's a
switch
big,
of the light.
no, seriously, that's a big part of it too, is like people always ignore the culture behind the industry. And the culture is what drives the industry. And when you start digging into the culture of these people, man, they're freaks. They're freaks. They're all freaks. It's a very like cultish kind of thing, because like their parties, and their meetings, their conferences, their white papers, their like all it's a closed loop system in their industry, and if you're not in it, you're not, you know what I mean? So it's very like I want to say I want to believe that it's every industry, and that I'm not crazy for participating in that one, but it is very dark. And I will say, I'm not going to get into this part of it, but it is very much driven by sex. And not just like for gratification, but like on a weird metaphysical level. The they literally practice sex magic. And if nobody knows what that is, like, go ahead and fall down that rabbit hole. But just that part of it is what scared me out of the industry, because I was like, okay, now we're just dealing with like metaphysical type stuff here. And that's part of the gaslighting, I think, because it's kind of terrifying. I'll give you one example, and then I'll shut up. Like, so my boss at this company that I was working at, he sent me a text, and I was like sitting out on my balcony, and I was like looking at the sunset, right? And I see, as soon as I see this like falling star at sunset, he texts me as soon as I saw that, and he said, "Hey, I just landed." And I was like, no, you did not. And that could be some weird, but he would also take these like business trips to Dubai, and he would come back and he would literally look 20 years younger. And it was the most weird thing. And like, no, like all the conspiracy theory stuff that you hear about, like adrenochrome and like all of these things, like, I don't know, man. Like, these people are playing on totally different spheres of existence that are honestly terrifying if you start thinking about it too much.
Planes of existence.
Or Taurus spheroid fields of existence.
Hey, that's it's up in the purple pill for you now, Sacred. I know you saw it, and I know he's not up on the stage, but I think he's still, yeah, I see him down there still with his hand raised in the listener crowd. It's Mr. Steamboat Jimmy. I got that graphic up there for you, and Stone replied to it and linked you the video. So you over here making accusations, claiming people just making up stuff. There's the math for you, bro. And even if you adjust those numbers a little bit throughout the year, winter and summer and all that, it's the point's still the same. The sun's got almost or over twice as much force of gravity on the moon than the Earth does. Yet the moon orbits the Earth for some reason. Why isn't the moon obeying gravity? Is it the one thing in our solar system that doesn't have to obey gravity? The moon is just special like that, or what? Anyways, go ahead.
Nice. And I did invite Raga to come back up once he calms down, at least anyway. But yeah, take a look at that. First of all, Pizzo, you are on top of it, man. Shout out to you, bro. And thank you, Stone, for that link. I tagged him in that too. But yeah, man, when you calm down, feel free to request back up as I rotate these mics. And shout out to you, Jasmine. I appreciate that. Who did I say? I said Ken was up, right? I think I said Ken was up. We'll go to KC. And we heard from Taylor, so Taylor, just be patient. I'll go to Game of Thrones, Afro, and then we'll slide to Taylor. And then we'll rotate some more mics. What's up, Ken?
What's up? Shane was saying that he thought Alan was studying too hard. I don't know, man. Peter came through today and told us that the Globe Gangsters just steamrolled you guys. Maybe Alan needs to study harder. I don't know.
Hey, I hired a geometry expert. I asked my professor. I got some construction paper and crayons. I was drawing lines all week, bro. It took me a hot minute to figure out that train bomb situation, but your boy did it.
Yeah. Well, Peter wouldn't get on it, right? So
not out loud anyway.
Yeah. So I forgot what I originally wanted to talk about. I wanted to, that conversation a while ago seemed to just derail as fast as it could. I thought Piezo put it quite eloquently and in a very short description. He took Newton's law of motion, gave you F equals ma, force equals mass times acceleration, and it said if you apply the same force to, like, one's 10 pounds, one's 1 pound, if you apply the same force to the 1 pound that you applied to the 10 pounds, you're going to have a different acceleration. And that's common sense. You don't have to know math. You don't have to know anything. You know, if you apply the same force to 2 different weights, you're going to get 2 different accelerations. Except we have one acceleration. So force has to be that which varies. I don't know how much simpler he could have made that. And I just thought it was worth pointing back out again because I feel like it might have got lost in that whatever that was by the end. Even Stone tried to
Ken, I tried to hold on as long as possible. We wasn't getting anywhere, bro. I was really trying.
Yeah. And I thought, well, who can't understand that? I mean, I don't know the math, you know. Stone runs circles around me on math, but I don't need to know the math. His description was simple, very simple. If you apply the same force to 2 different masses, you're going to get 2 different accelerations. Therefore, if in F equals ma, a being the force of gravity, acceleration due to gravity, is going to be 9.8 meters per second every single time on every single object, no matter what its mass is, then the force has to be changing. And I don't understand why he couldn't grasp that very simple concept. But I thought it bared repeating because I thought it got lost by the end of the conversation.
You know that they call that force, you know what they call that force? The variable force? They call that force weight. They call it weight. So they literally call it the force of gravity on an object is weight. So weight and mass are different, right? Mass is the amount of matter, and weight is that amount of mass times gravitational acceleration. But you're like, it still doesn't make sense when you apply Newton's second law, because Newton, like I said before, the force is always supposed to be the primary cause, and the acceleration is supposed to be the resultant effect. And it implies that the force is the constant and the acceleration is the variable, given the mass being different. But in the F equals ma, when you use gravity, the acceleration is the constant and the force is the variable. It's actually the only force out of every force in the entire universe ever in which that occurs. Every other force of every other effect on objects throughout all of time and space, everywhere in the universe, the only time that the force is the variable and the acceleration is the constant is when you're talking about gravity. Everything else is just, I impose force, impose it on mass, I get acceleration. So it's very interesting that gravity is just the exception to the rule for Newton's second law.
I'm glad I brought it back up.
Yeah, Ken, thanks for bringing us back to like the original point and simplifying the context. 'Cause it's easy to get derailed when that's someone's entire agenda. So I appreciate that, brother. Yo, you want to add anything else?
No, that was all. That was pretty much all I had. You know, Globe Gangsters just steamrolled our guys. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because that wasn't what I saw. But why would he lie to me?
Why would they lie?
Why
Yo,
would
Ken,
why
that
would
was
they
awesome.
why would they lie?
Thanks for bringing us back to the sauce, dude.
It was good sauce, and I just
He was quite
I
the
couldn't.
chef.
I barely could stand to listen to that guy.
Yeah, drunk people are the worst. He was like, let me come up here and just flail around a little bit and piss all over myself. All right, dude, we'll let you do that. If that's how you want to make use of the platform, I mean, we'll let you do it, I guess. But it's obviously
He couldn't even
insane.
own that, though. He couldn't even admit he was drunk. It was so obvious.
Hey, my issue is like I always believe the confidence. I'm like, well, you're not gonna come up here and just be super confident and not answer no questions. So I was like, this guy gotta have some sauce. Like, so that's like 110 episodes, and I still be believing these guys, man. I'm like, come on, man. My bad, y'all. My bad. I be trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Swear to officer, I'm not drunk or whatever.
Noble at worst.
Hey, to Jasmine, by the way, you were talking about like wondering about satellites, and another person brought up satellites earlier, about working on communications networks. I think it was
AC.
uh, Case, yeah.
Yeah, it was Casey for sure.
And honestly, like for me, I don't care if there's satellites up there. I think that there probably are. I think that we can, it's actually we can prove that there's objects up there. Whatever they're doing is a different story, but I mean, I do think that there are, for example, Elon Musk got the internet satellites going on, right? I think those are real. I just don't think that they're, 21,000 miles away or whatever the number is that they give us. Me and Alan were looking into Sanya corrections on satellites a couple of weeks ago, and we were looking at some papers analyzing where these corrections come from. And what we found is that there should be a relativistic correction for Einsteinian stuff, but there's not. They use a Sagnac correction, which is classical. But the speed, the speed that these satellites are traveling around us, um, they actually ended up getting the same exact value for the timing on a signal within like 1 millisecond. It was like within 1 millisecond, like 451 versus 450 or something like that. Um, Using the travel time signal of like a loop around the equator on the Earth, like a loop around the surface of the Earth, versus an equation showing like drawing an arc um, over the sky and using like the distance from like the coordinate system they defined or something. And
From the ECEF at
ECC,
20,000 kilometers.
yeah, 20,000, yeah, 21,000 kilometers, or whatever. Yeah, and so what it implied, I was like, oh my, and he said in the paper, he was like, it's kind of weird that we arrive at the same exact timing number using two completely different methodologies that are totally unrelated. And I was like, oh my gosh, Alan, like that's it. And it's like, what? And it's like, well, the real number for the timing signal is just the distance around the equator. Like that's the timing signal right there. It's the path along the ground. Well, they're just plugging in. They're just doing the math backwards and plugging in. If we calculated it as a function of altitude, what would the altitude need to be to come up with the same signal timing? And that's the altitude that they're telling us the satellites are at. Like that has to be it, because otherwise, there's no way. It can't just be a coincidence that if I was to, design a giant Sagnac interferometer on the ground and wrap it around the equator and do the math on it, that I would get the same exact timing delay as you would for your satellite way up in the sky, 20 something thousand kilometers. Like I'm supposed to just believe that that's totally a coincidence. Like they're within 1 millisecond of each other. Nah, dog. Like y'all literally just made up that altitude so it would work out the same, so you could say that the satellites are way up there. So, but that being said, I think the altitudes are fake. I do think there is stuff up in the sky that they are able to send signals to. Then that just becomes a question of what is their propulsion mechanism. And man, I mean, there was
It's water. It's water.
it could be, or some type of like exotic fluid that we don't know about here on the ground. I
So
also
I was just going to say that's what we were working on at the company. They were working on water propulsion using steam, which is obviously in our atmosphere. And they, if you look at like rocket fuel and stuff, they use water, and a lot of the problems that the cost prohibitiveness, apparently, I don't even know if that's the real framework, but of sending things up there, is the fuel, is the weight of the fuel. So like the heavier things are, the more cost prohibitive it is. So if they can figure out a way to just collect, water and fuel up there, they can use that instead of, and lower the cost of launching. So water is, and whatever the ether is, that which they won't tell us, which kind of goes into what you were saying.
Yeah, and so if you look into it, so we've also been doing a little bit of research. We haven't went deep on it yet. We did read a couple of papers, an Army Research Lab paper, as well as some letters from the discoverer and patenter of some effects. There's two different ones. One is kind of One is electrohydrodynamics, ionic propulsion, basically where you are able to get a spark gap between two diodes and induce a current across it when you apply sufficient voltage. And you can take magnets, put them across the gap, strip out all the negative charges with the magnets so that you just get a directed positive current flying to the other electrode. And the accumulation of moving currents towards that electrode of just positive charges will produce a thrust, because we know that the sky is very highly positively charged. It's just a bunch of positive ions up there in the sky. It's like an ocean of ionization. Uh, and
Unless it's
so,
at night. Unless it's nighttime.
yeah, it decreases at night, but it's still there, right? And
Which
so
is why. Why is the question I want to know to that, right?
this is sun. But anyways, when you get anybody's ever played with a magnet or electricity, like charges repel, opposite charges attract. You get positive off of positive. You've got a repulsive effect. So you can take these electrodes and use them in three different axes, your X, Y, and your Z, and now you have a 3D configuration of motion control. And also, we know that there are what we would call, well, you could call them ionic winds, but high up in the Earth's atmosphere, within these layers of ionization, there is a rapidly moving magnetic field that blows. You could kind of imagine it kind of like a wind that blows around very rapidly at high altitude. It actually gets faster the higher up you go. And so, were you to put a craft up there and you were to stabilize it at equilibrium within that field that's moving, then it would be moving along with the field, however fast the field is. And so, if you're in a river, right? Like if you got an analogy would be, if you're sitting in a swimming pool floating, you're not moving forward very fast. If you paddle forward at 1 mile an hour, now you're going 1 mile an hour. But if you're sitting in a river that's flowing like 50 miles an hour, I mean, you don't have to do anything to go 50 miles an hour, so it's not hard to go fast. And so, the ISS, I don't believe that there's people on it, but I think that there is some kind of craft up there, and you can track it, and it does go around the Earth really fast. I think that's because they found a way to ride on the ionic wind, so to speak. There's also there was a space where we did a reading night about a week ago on what's called the Biefeld-Brown effect. It was discovered in the 1920s by a man named T.T. Brown, but the Naval Research Lab got into it, as well as a bunch of labs around the world, one in Paris, like another different places, several different labs throughout the 1930s and up into the late 1950s. And this man patented these things all the way through the 20s through the 60s. But what they found is that, and this is something that we were reading a 2000s Army paper on, even though it was studied like 7 years prior. But it was saying that what you do is, if you take a capacitor, which is normally just two parallel plates, if you create a configuration for the capacitor that's asymmetric, such as like two spherical diodes, and you make one diode very, very, very big and round, and the other one very, very, very small, and you make it taper off to a point, and you apply extremely high voltage, like we're talking hundreds of kilovolts or more, to one of the diodes, then it will actually create a net force on the capacitor that will cause it to move. And like you can actually create these little foils, or these capacitors that made a foil, and you can hit them with this current, hundreds of kilovolts plus, and it'll make these foils like fly up in the air, like they get a force greater than their own weight. And they were actually even able to attach small weights to some of these foils and get them to lift both themselves and the weights that were attached. And that was just at the hundreds of kilovolts region. They found that the amount of force imposed on the asymmetric capacitor was linearly proportional to the amount of voltage applied. So as the voltage increased, the force increased linearly, which means that if that relationship was maintained, if you had materials that could handle the current or with the voltage without, exploding, you could, in theory, you could apply megavolts or tens or hundreds of megavolts and make these things have many times their own weight in thrust. So it would be totally sufficient for aircraft propulsion. And they found also, and this is the part that is less talked about, they found that this effect works not only in the atmosphere, but it works in a vacuum. Because in the atmosphere, they actually ionize the air, and they explain the forces by the wind currents that are generated. But in a vacuum, There is no wind. There's nothing at all. You know, you just have two diodes and you're trying to transfer current. It breaks it like breaks the laws of physics for there to be a net force. The net force should be zero because force in equals force out. And so it doesn't make any sense how you could cause the capacitor to move and lift itself up just through applying current from one side to the other. It doesn't make any sense, but it's a real effect. It's definitely real, and it's very interesting. It implies ether, and I think that's what they utilize in the EHD systems on the satellites.
My God, that was so over my head, but I might have absorbed like 30% of it. So thank you.
Yeah, if you go to Ether Cosmology, we got like a database of all these papers. You can get some sources and references for this and cover it in your own time when you're better able to absorb it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it takes me a really long time. I mean, I don't have the brain for it, but I definitely have the interest. So Ether Cosmology.
Yeah, at Ether Cosmology. Toby hosts over there. Shout out to Tobe. Yeah, go check it out. Database goes crazy. Channel is wild too. Thanks, Piezo.
Word dog, no problem.
I think I said KC, but we didn't hear from Game and Afro, so I'm gonna just slide real quick to some new speakers, and then we'll double back to some of the OGs.
Beautiful. God love you, Sacred. And man, I tell you what, between Taylor and Jasmine, I've been singing in you guys' choir now for 5 years. You're not going to find an argumentative person here in this old guy. I'm damn near 70. All right. 5 years ago, I started taking what my good book told me was a firmament. Now, we all saw what happened when Mr. Elon made a joke out of the firmament and bounced the rocket off of what appeared, Jasmine, I think it's water too. It might be something else. Taylor over there with 100, yuppie, yuppie. My Bible tells me the firmament and the waters above and below. And yeah, I've read the book of Enoch. And yeah, I'm in a lot of rabbit holes, guys. You may see me around. And by the way, I followed every damn one of you. Whether you follow me back, that's up to you, but I'm genuine. I'm the real freaking deal. I do not join sites just, this is no ego here. This is an understanding time. And the more I can learn, the more I can talk to globies, and I'm surrounded by them in a lot of my other rooms, guys. Whatever information you can pass my way, I definitely want to hear it. But Sacred, it was great. My wife said, "Are they just going to play? This is cool music and whatnot. Are they just going to play music all night?" And I said, "No, honey. I think like 10 minutes into it, they get down to business and they start talking." And yes, indeed. I mean, I've been here since the beginning, guys, tonight, and there's so much. I want to throw some kudos, Piezo. I am a believer when you put that bit down about Christ, the thing about chapters 2 and 3 in the book of John. You had me, brother, right there. I knew you were a brother. I mean,
Revelation.
Yeah, fabulous. There's a level of knowledge in here, guys, that I'm just not used to seeing. That I welcome it. I'm not hurt by it. I love it. And Jasmine, you're not the only one getting talked over the head to by some of this stuff. I'm no physicist. I studied to be a med tech. I ended up in nutraceuticals. I've been retired now for a while, but I've been around people and I've seen things and I've seen human nature. And I really believe right now, guys, we are in I'm not trying to sidetrack. I'll say this real quick. We're in a spiritual battle. I don't give a damn what you align with tribally, but the war of good versus evil has never been more imminent in our world than right now. And I just ask everyone, be prayerful, be spiritual, and be manifest in your purpose, whatever God calls you to be. Follow that path and do it with reverence and do it because it is everything. I mean, I got 3 grandkids that are teenagers, guys. I look around this world and I wonder how people who fight just for the hell of it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense anymore. Ego should not enter into any of this. But the more I can learn from you guys, and by the way, I've seen the 2 suns, the sun above and the sun in the water, and why doesn't it illuminate all the body of water? I got the same questions you all got. So I'm going to sit back here in a minute as soon as I've vented everything and let y'all just keep dripping the wisdom drops on me. Love you. Again, if I haven't followed you, tap on my head and make it clear, and I will follow you back directly. God bless you. Love y'all. And Friday nights will be my spot right here.
Right on. We're having a sale on body bags.
Let's
I
go,
love
yo.
that. I
Thanks,
love
Game of Thrones. Appreciate you, brother. And shout out to the Mrs. Game of Thrones too. Sorry for carrying the songs a little bit longer than normal. I don't have my DJ co-commander here, but appreciate you, man.
You did a great job. God bless you, man. You good. Your heart's good. Your intention's good, and your fire is even better. God bless you guys.
Man, it's comments like that just make it all worth it, man. Like I just love when I hear a new listener come up and share some positive and even some critiques as well, because we're open to those as well. But it's moments like those that just make this whole thing just keep moving. More than the earth, by the way, because still ain't detecting no motion. Shout out the game, man. Appreciate you, brother. Afro Jump, did you want to chime in real quick? I think you had your hand up before.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to you, my brother, Sacred. Shout out to co-host Alan. I heard you guys talking. I just wanted to add some input about the sun. There's two suns and there's two moons. They faked the moon landing on purpose because they couldn't show you the real shit. It's too beyond the normal mind capabilities to the day-to-day person to think that we got spacecraft and all this other stuff. It's too big. So that's why they faked the moon landing. But there's two moons, right? There's a base. They got a base with all this military gear, all this military stuff, and then they got the fake moon, which is kind of like a hologram type of deal. I don't know exactly the setup, but it's just like a local hologram type of deal. And then the two suns, this is both of the suns are plasma, right? Everything's plasma. Your plasma, our atmosphere is plasma. Everything's plasma, so it's all energy. So these people are able to create the sun that you see is also a hologram. It's pure plasma, and it's a perfect circle. If you've ever looked at the sun, sometimes you can see like the corona effect coming off of it. That's not the sun. That's part of the sun. That's the part that is actual chemical reactions going off. But the main body of the sun is straight just plasma. Like it's not no rock. It's not no molten rock spinning, 1,000 miles. There's no asteroids. There's none of that shit. None of that shit exists. It's all fake. There is like debris from spacecraft being blown the fuck apart. There's debris from their technology that they'll blow it up sometimes because they're out there getting shot down by who knows who. But so there's spacecraft debris always falling, and that's where World War II was a lot had to do with this because they wanted a lot of the technology in Antarctica, Greenland, I think, and one other place, I think Argentina. They had a lot of technology over there, so that's what World War II was about. They tried to prolong it as much as possible, so that they could push their laws, backdoor deals, all that other crap, but also to get the technology. That's what it's all about. It's technology, and that's what they killed Reagan for. They killed Reagan. If you guys didn't see the original clip, they switched the two clips out. The one of the clips was, he was standing on the back waving, but the original clip that I saw was the dude in the front seat in front of Reagan shot him. Like he had bent forward, had a gun in his
You meant Kennedy,
suit.
brother. You meant Kennedy. You meant Kennedy.
Oh yeah, not Reagan, Kennedy. Yeah, I get those two. Yeah. So he looked forward, bent down, and had the suit, gun in the suit. Boom, shot him right underneath the armpit. People don't see people don't see that, but he betrayed Reagan. I don't know if he's ET or something, but he was high up there in their elite little faction that they got. But the point is that they had to fake that moon landing because the public was not ready for the fact that there's people on Mars, there's people on the moon, you live in a simulation. All this other stuff that they've been eating our kids like 8 million a year, for the last 100 some years, and they can't tell everybody this because this is the reason why they're keeping you here is because they don't want you to figure out who you really are. That we are the ultimate like masters, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to add that input. Thank you, my brother.
Hey man, great stuff. What was your what led you to your first aha moment? Like, I gotta start looking into this. Something is weird. Like, what was the first thing?
It was the fact that I got woken up, I'd say 2016, whenever I broke my leg, and it started this whole health thing, and I figured out what really heals the body, how to actually heal the body, and then in doing that, I found all about this other side of cannibals, this cannibal groups. I started reading about these cannibals, and it's kind of intertwined with religion. And then religion kind of brought me with the Anunnaki and the Emerald Tablets and all that. And then I took a few classes on the hidden knowledge classes that Mr. Carlson had provided me, and I also had just been just kind of like meditating and studying old ancient readings. But all this is pointing out the same thing, that they're like we've never been alone. All this is pointing out, and it all started with health, like because I had a stomach ulcer, I had broken my leg, all types of stuff. So I had figured it all out by reading in about cannibals and how cannibalism actually is like it's one of the things that's been around for forever, man. They've been eating other humans for a long,
Do you think we should
long
be
time.
cannibals?
No. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. It's not about just being cannibals and eating just to eat. It's about taking someone's strength, taking their
That sounds like witchcraft, bro. Not gonna lie.
well, yeah, it is
100%.
because it's darkness. You got to use darkness in order to get that type of power.
No, you gotta
you
use
know
the
what-
light, man.
Do you know what the Kuru is?
Yeah. I know all about that, and I know about the
Tell me
spine and
about
how.
Kuru.
Well, you got the Kundalini is your third eye, right? So you got you
No.
got the
No,
the
that's
consciousness.
The Kuru are the ones that started eating each other's brains and had the neurodegenerative
No.
disease, right?
No.
Right.
No. Kuru is a degeneration of
Yeah,
your
the
own
neurodegeneration.
physiology because you ate another human. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That started with those
Right.
the people that were eating the cannibalistic people out there. Isn't the name Kuru from that tribe?
I don't know if it's from the tribe. You
I
you could
think
be
so.
right about that too.
Yeah.
But
They
it
used to
was
eat the
definitely
third eye.
involved.
They used to eat the third eye. They used to eat the whole head. They'll eat your brain. They'll eat everything.
Yeah. And then
Exactly.
you end up fucked up and on your way towards the grave a lot earlier than you thought.
Bro, how did we get here? It's so
I
dark.
don't know, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I'd like to point out adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is more popular than you people think. Like, if you look at a lot of our actors and actresses, when you see them looking really good, and then all of a sudden, a couple months later, they look like trash. That's because they're off of that adrenochrome. That's one of the
That's what I was talking
withdrawals.
about with my boss. Oh my
Yep.
God. I'm
Do you
Political
scared.
agree
figures
with
too.
drinking blood? Afro jump. Do you agree with adrenochrome consumption?
I don't agree with that crap. No, 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 no. My philosophy is, let's say, like, if you have a stomach problem, like intestinal problem, eat some pig intestine or something. Like,
Bro,
it's easier for your body to reconstruct something when it has the proper materials. Like, if you're gonna if you have a blood problem, you do a blood transmutation. So it's the same thing.
please don't do that.
Okay, interesting.
I'll take my ginger. I'll stay on my ginger for my guts.
I mean, health is one of my other favorite topics as well, especially when you go into like naturopathy, holistic, and alternative healing and things like that. Some of that stuff is something that you were talking about was a little bit dark, but hey, man, we all are on different journeys, on the different paths, and that led you here, man. So shout out to you, Afro. Taylor's checking you though. She's like, don't even play with me when it comes to none of that type
Yeah,
of
I don't do that. I don't do that. I healed my own stomach. So I'm just telling everybody what the secret is that they're trying to hide is that the fact that they eat people and they do it to regenerate their lifespan and all this other shit.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Well, man, but appreciate you, man. We typically stay more focused on flat Earth, but like to be totally honest, like we always say this, like flat Earth is like the tipping thing, like that's gonna knock all the rest of the house of cards down, and it opens up every single other conspiracy or misrepresentation of reality that that's affecting us. So, shout out to you, man. Continue searching and keep pulling up. I think we got KC was next, and then we go to Taylor.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Secret? I just wanted to come up and kind of say like what Steam was saying. You can hear me, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. No, I don't appreciate people come up here and saying that oh well you have to have a credential in this or that. I mean, obviously people are smart enough to go and read um, you know, positions of people that have said, hey, look, this is what I found. People are smart enough to go read those things and, make a conclusion for themselves. So just having any kind of credentials or whatever that, because, how I got started in my field was not from credentials. It was being smart as fuck. So, I kind of find that pretty degrading of people. And also, another thing that I wanted to bring up is that how come nobody in existence for, I don't know, thousands of years or whatever, why can they not have an experiment to show air pressure outside of a container? Why is everything in this world that is pressurized have to be in a closed container? Nobody can ever answer that. You
Oh, I think he cut out. Casey, you was cooking. As soon as he make a point, get the cooking. He's like,
No,
oh,
it's
you talking about
exactly
that
what I was talking
GPS?
about
Now you talking
before.
about pressurized systems? Hold on, get his mic out of here. Casey, tap in with us.
No, it's exactly what I was talking about with the ideal gas law about an hour and a half ago, if you guys recall. Yeah, same deal.
Rip, KC got lost in the ether wind.
Let's see if we can get him back. Hold that thought, guys. Be patient, be patient, be patient. Hey, Stationary Saturdays, man. Repost. Appreciate y'all showing the love, staying active. I'm gonna go through the comments because I haven't been through the purple pill yet. So I'm gonna start tapping in and see what you guys are thinking about, what you guys are saying. So let's keep it moving, man.
hey,
Casey, you back?
yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, as soon as you made the point, Elon got you out of here, bro. Continue.
He didn't like that at all. But no, I mean that's one of the biggest things that like because I mean I was going to be a biochemist when I was in high school and stuff. I was going to go to college for it. Luckily, Yahuwah had some other plans for me. So yeah, I got out of that. So the pressurized containers How come nobody can show any kind of experiment that pressurized air can exist outside of a container, right? We don't have that. Another thing is I wanted to Game of Thrones. He came up and said something about the Bible. One of other than the sun being created on the fourth day and whatever was, how was the earth rotating around something for 3 days? What was it rotating around? My other favorite verse is Exodus 24:10. It says, and they saw the God of Israel, and under his feet, like a paved work of sapphire stone, and like the heavens for the brightness. So right there it says, they seen God walking on a sapphire stone. And, that's kind of interesting to me because I did a lot of research and um, on like meteors and stuff like that, which, a lot of it does have iron in it. Okay, I'll give them that. That's a fair analogy. But also, nobody talks about the sapphire stone that they find in these places that, that these meteors have hit, right? That's interesting that, the Bible talks about it, and you can clearly go find meteor strikes all around the world, and you can go look these up yourself. I mean, you can Google every single one of them, and sapphire stone was found near it. And then my last point, is the word gravity actually comes from a Latin word that's called gravis or gravitas, right? Which just means weight. So basically, what they did is they made some really, I call them expensive words, right? You know, and changed the name of it. It just means weight. I mean, the reason why you don't float off is because you weigh something. The reason why you don't get blown away by the wind is because you weigh something, right? Um, so that's just kind of my points there. But hey, Sacred, man, I'm gonna run, man. It's 1:30. I got some studying to do in the morning with the kids and everything. So hey, man, keep it real. And me and KP got something for you coming up pretty soon. I hope we're gonna try to put some R&B over some death metal, and I think you might enjoy it, bro.
Ooh, let's get it, yo, man. Listen, we used to do music spaces. I'm thinking about bringing it back, man. And y'all let me know, y'all want to do we do a little bit of flat earth playlist in the beginning of the space, but we used to really get into like the sacred music spaces, and we thinking about running it back up. I'm so missing that, and I can't wait to hear it. Shout out to KP, shout out to the little ones too. And Casey, man, it is so good to hear from you. So good to see you, my brother.
Yeah, man. Mad respect and much love, bro. Keep it real, man.
Likewise, likewise. Feel free to pull back up anytime, man. My guy. Taylor, who you got smoke for, Taylor?
Well, I mean, I want to say something about the Anunnaki. Just those were the Watchers, and they're locked up underground. So I don't know how much we should be like learning after them. Like you mentioned, Sumerian tablets. God's destroyed the Sumerians too. So I don't know, man. I would want to listen to the Most High God. And one other thing, I was gonna bring up a point earlier that was about gravity and stuff, and I was gonna ask about planet formation. So one thing that's always really confused me was like how they say planets formed. Basically, these rocks just came and collided into each other and stuck together, I assume. And but to me, it's like if there was rocks hurtling towards each other, they'd just break apart even more. So I don't know if anybody's ever looked into that, but logically, that's just never made sense to me at all. Like if you think about it, like, okay, all these little rocks coming together to form like a planet. But if they're banging into each other, I mean, I would just imagine them breaking apart more and more. But apparently that couldn't have happened in their models, so I don't know.
Things that make you go, hmm. And you would think, right? Like if we're in a vacuum of space, if something collides with another, like it'll just translate that motion in that same direction, right? Now I'm pretty sure they have some gravitational wizardry that they could try to calculate on paper to describe it away. But
Yeah, but there wouldn't be much gravity if they're just small rocks banging into each other.
I would say it's proportional. Well, the Globers are saying they don't know what proportional means these days. So, hey, man, listen. I got no saying questions, Taylor. Not gonna lie. Doesn't work, guys.
And I was gonna ask Sean, or I think, maybe Alan, you've crunched the numbers before about Canigou Mountains, like the refraction of them. I was like trying to find equations on refraction the other day and trying to like do the math of I was trying to find out what the maximum refractive index would be in the atmosphere and like what's the maximum coverage that we should get with the Canigou Mountains. So if anybody has those numbers, they could definitely shoot them my way. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Ooh, I like that. Maximum refractive index. That's like I never thought about that before. What is the maximum? They'll just move that, they'll just scale it, right? Oh, if we need to see it beyond the curve, we'll just keep manipulating that radius. We did a whole space on that. Because that's what they typically do. They call it standard refraction. And
I think it's the 30% though. I think the maximum atmospheric refraction is 30%. So if it's like 30% projected in the best conditions, then how high should we expect to see it and how much of it are we seeing? And also the fact that it's so predictable, like each year that you can go look at them at this particular time, like that's just really sketchy. And also I've posted a couple posts on refraction. There's only 3 types of refraction that would really explain seeing things over the curve, which are these mirages. And in each of those mirages, you'd see like heavy distortion. Like you'd see something floating over the ground for a superior mirage. You'd see something mirrored underneath it with an inferior mirage. And then there's also these theta mirages, which have them completely hovering above the ground. And in the pictures I've seen of the Canigou Mountains, they seem pretty level with the horizon, and you don't see that distortion. So I just wanted to get the math on that, just to, further add on to the points I've already learned.
super facts. It's all about empirical evidence, verifying what they claim is happening, right? So when they say we see things that should be behind the physical obstruction of curvature, they say, oh, well, we could still see it because the image of the actual observation is being refracted up into the sky. So even though you see that mountain in the distance, even though we can plan to go see this silhouette when the sun sets behind the mountain, and we could plan to go see it twice a year based on your location, not on atmospheric conditions, that this is just an illusion. Because you know why? Because the prediction is that it's not supposed to be visible. Okay, so this is what Taylor's speaking to for all of the any new listeners to the conversation. Anytime we see things that are predicted to be behind the curvature, and we're not saying that refraction doesn't exist, right? We know that, we do live in an environment that has refractive effects. But we're saying the things that you need refraction to do, you can't empirically verify because it fails the prediction on the globe, right? We're talking about mountains that are supposed to be like over 1,000 feet below the horizon, and then we could see them. And the interesting thing about the Canigou Mountain, I'll post a video that I posted a while ago. I think I sent it to Taylor a while ago. The interesting thing about the Canigou Mountain silhouette observation, right? We're not just talking about seeing Canigou Mountains on different days throughout the year, specifically about the silhouette. Shout out to Wissit. When you have an absence of light due to the sun setting behind the mountain, it shouldn't be affected by refraction because according to Snell's law, so not an expert, but just basic understanding of Snell's law, is that affects it affects light. Light bends towards the more dense medium in their paradigm, causing the image to pop up. But if you have an absence of light, it shouldn't be affected by Snell's law, because Snell's law and refraction is all about light, not the absence of it. So that's why the silhouette that you can plan to go see twice a year is super interesting. It seems to be a problem. And the globe earthers do so many mental gymnastics just trying to impose this refractive effect, saying, well, it's still being refracted. And it's like, you really need that refraction because you know that that mountain is not supposed to be visible if you claim the radius of the earth is 3,959 miles. That's a problem. And these are just things that, you know, globe skeptics, true earthers, flat earthers are accounting for to say, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why, when I see this mountain in the distance, you're telling me it's not really there? Why are you telling me that this mountain that I see in the distance is not really there? I literally have to believe that to just keep myself on a spherical earth in motion. I got to believe that what I'm looking at is not really there for real when I can literally just go straight to it. This is the thing that y'all got to figure out. Y'all got to, if you appeal to a globe earth in motion, think like terrestrial observation. We're not even talking about things in the sky. We're talking about terrestrial observations. It's an illusion. And this happens in so many different dynamics of like the globe earth paradigm. A lot of these things are just illusion, abstract concepts. And you have to believe it because that is the explanation. And to me, it's just like, again, I know that you can have refraction, right? You could look at steam rising from the cement or some type of haze rising from the cement. You could see distortion. But why are you telling me that distortion is going to allow me to see further? And on a clearer day, I'm supposed to see less far? That's what I have to believe in order to stay on the globe earth? Come on, guys. It's up to you. You got to choose. It's going to be up to you. No one can tell you what to think. You have to choose what to think and to verify yourself. And if you're honest with yourself, you're going to start questioning a lot of the mainstream narrative. And that's what we want you guys to just keep an open mind about. I'm going to go ahead and post that right now. Share it up top. I'll tell you, want to add anything in? I think Jasmine wanted to say something. I think we have a couple new speakers up here.
No, we can go to Jasmine.
Go ahead, Jazz, and then we'll slide over to Justice and maybe CO Dub, and I'll see if there's anybody else requesting. Give me a second, guys.
Hello.
Greetings, sir.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We were going to go to Jasmine, but I guess if you want to jump in real quick, go for it, Justice. Is this Justice?
Yes, this is. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to raise my hand. Did I not have my hand raised?
Well, I didn't see it, but it's no worries. We can go to you, and then we'll go to Jasmine afterwards.
Okay. Hey, I'll be quick. I just wanted to comment and say, hey, I love your guys' show. I'm a fairly recent listener. I discovered you guys through Nathan Oakley. Nathan Oakley actually gave Shane a shout out and was appreciating some of Shane's work. So I popped on over to check out the channel, and I said, yeah, he's got a pretty fascinating channel, listening to some of the debates, and I thought he was spot on. I just kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on Nathan Oakley. He seems to have some pretty rock solid arguments, but I know he gets a lot of slack in the community for his, I guess, sort of his, maybe his behavior. I'm not sure.
Shout out to Nathan Oakley. I wouldn't call him a level head, but he does make some very interesting arguments. I know we don't always agree on everything in the community because it's not like some, single-minded cult. So I respect everybody's differences within the true Earth globe skeptic flat Earth community. But yeah, man, Nathan Oakley's like super entertaining. You can't knock that, right?
Yeah, I do like that he one of the things I appreciate about him is he always just sticks to the point. When people start getting out in getting carried away with nonsense, he brings them right back down to the flat earth measurements. And he always brings them back home to that, which is something I really appreciate. I know he's not a big ether guy. I'm kind of on the fence with ether. I don't really have a position on it one way or the other because I know there's a lot of things that we don't know or understand. So I haven't really made my mind up about that. I'm a big fan of Tesla. Back in the mid 2000s, I built some of my own homemade Tesla coils based on some schematics I found online. So I definitely appreciate that kind of technology. And I know Tesla was a big supporter of the ether. So I do believe there is something to it. My position with the flat earth, I kind of take a biblical approach, but I don't use any specific Bible verse to prove the flat earth. When I go to the Bible, I look at one word, and that word would be face. Anytime the Bible says face of the earth, if you look at plane geometry, the word face in geometry is considered a flat surface. So anytime the Bible says face of the earth, there's your flat earth proof. That was kind of my position on that.
Justice, you just nailed it. Wow.
Yeah,
Not to mention, they say it's immovable in that same text.
Yeah, if you guys look at the scripture, you'll see the face of the earth is actually used, I think it may be 19 or I forgot how many times, but nobody ever refers to face of the earth when they use the Bible to prove the flat earth. I'm like, you guys have the word face right here in the Bible. Face means flat level surface. When you look it up in geometry, that's what face means. And it's been in the Bible this whole time.
Ooh, rest in peace to the globe. I'm telling you, you can literally attack this argument from so many different angles. I mean, you want to go physics, you want to go science, you want to go biblical, like whatever you want to do, like it's always going to be a problem for it. Like it's just at a certain point, it's like, at what point do you want to just continue to force yourself to believe something that just doesn't align with anything? Like, now you could force things to make, like force it to work, like with calculations and stuff like that, but that doesn't prove anything. That's not an explanation. Math is just a description. You could describe things that aren't apparent in reality at all, right? So I think that's really interesting. That's why I said earlier in the space, I love this conversation because it's so many different ways to have the dynamic back and forth.
Well, hey, I just wanted to say I appreciate your guys' show. I'm going to go ahead and listen now. I'm going to take myself off the mic, give the next caller a chance to comment. Just want to say I appreciate your guys' show. Keep it up.
Thanks, man. Tell Nathan Noakley, shout out to him, man. Let him know where we at.
Awesome, man. Will do, man. I'm going to keep listening. Appreciate you guys.
And shout out to Shane, man. There's been a couple people that said, hey, I found you guys through Shane's channel. So shout out to Shane St. Pierre, the GOAT, the legend himself. He's probably taking a nap in the ether right now, but we rocking. What's up, Jazz? Jasmine, you there? Can y'all hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, I know I didn't hear my name. No, I was going to comment on, so he's not up here anymore, but he said, it sounded like he said that he doesn't believe like in meteorites. And then we had Casey talking about sapphires being found around meteor strikes, which I've actually never heard of. But that's what my company was doing. Their plan was to mine asteroids for their resources, right? And but the more I've looked into this kind of stuff, I believe in a firmament. I'm with my Bible believing brothers and sisters here. I believe in a firmament 1,000%. And I'm over here looking at meteorites like, are these like pieces of the firmament? You know, like how many times have we been trying to break through that thing? Like, are they just the chunks that fall down? Because and it's crazy when you look at the structure of these things, they've got a bunch of different structures. Like they're metallic, right? They've got a bunch of different metals, nickel, iron, different compositions. They're crystalline in structure, just like the Bible says. And they've got these like olivine peridot gemstones in them, which that's one of the foundation stones mentioned in the Bible. And so it's just like, yeah, there's a whole question about like what are these space rocks that are falling down onto the earth that have a different composition than everything else on the planet. I think there was another stone that I was curious about, and it's a sky stone, which is like 70% oxygen. Like, how does that even happen? I don't even know. So yeah, in addition to those areas of interest, I would add geology. And I don't want to say as above, so below. That's like a satanic phrase, but there's a reason it is a phrase, obviously. And so now I'm like, okay, maybe we need to really start looking in the dirt and start looking at these rocks and to figure out what is above us. I don't know. So if anybody's looked into like meteorites and the firmament, I'd be super interested in that.
Well, just so you know, Shane has a presentation on
Wait,
on
just
that.
real quick. As above, so below, satanic?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
this like it is.
What?
Yeah, that's an occult philosophy.
I mean, boys, let's take it back though, right? Like, there's some truth to it. Do they get to own it? Should we
It's
just
not
swoop?
satanic. It's
Should we just
even in the
swoop it?
Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer itself is the as above, so below. Our
But
Father who
what I'm
art in
saying is there's
heaven,
a
thy
reason
Lord
they
be thy
say
name.
that, you know.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's literally as above, so below in the prayer.
That
I
just caught
heard
me
that
off
it was.
guard when I was trying to send out a tweet. Like I never heard that like aspect before.
I recently heard that it was part of a larger statement, as above, so below, as within, so without. But I don't remember where they said it came from.
Probably there was a video going around that when they read the Aramaic translation, the Aramaic Bible translation of the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer was way extended in detail than what we have in these modern translations. But the concept is still the same about as above, so below. Even the whole story of Garden of Eden, they're just playing on the concept as above, so below, New Jerusalem coming. The concept keeps on repeating.
Telling y'all, learn something new every day.
Yeah, the as above, so below though is like they are attempting to replicate like otherworldly things here and thinking that there's like a balance.
Hey, I just noticed. Oh, my bad, guys. Flat Lads, you still up here? We didn't even hear from you all evening. Nah, falling asleep on Mike.
He's a patient guy, though. You got to say that.
I looked it up. It's attributed to Hermes Trismegistus.
Hermes Trismegistus. Shout out to my boy Jim.
Kazoo tight.
Trismegistus.
Well, looky, we got Wilson in the house.
We are supposed to create God's kingdom on earth, That's the above, so below. Like, that's the whole plan. I don't know, Christians, they are trying to go to heaven when they have been unable to make a heaven on earth. Like, what heaven will you be making when you die? You'll be just be thinking the same way like when you're alive. The things that were supposed to determine where you go after you die, you're supposed to be doing them now. If you want to go to heaven, you'll have already be making heaven here on earth. Otherwise, the heaven you're talking about will be not different from what's happening right now. That's why I believe the concept as above so below, it has nothing to do with Satanism. It's just that whatever you entertain in your mind will also be reflected in your experience physically. They cannot be separated.
So the reason I call it satanic though is like it's hermeneutics, which if you dig down into that, you'll see a lot of occult themes because okay, so in aerospace and NASA, like you'll notice they're absolutely obsessed with Egyptian gods. And if you dig into that, that's like the basis of what I'm talking about. In that they have like a god called Hermes, and it's like if you've ever heard of like hermeneutics and stuff, it's all tied to that. And I used to like make fun of my atheist counterparts in the industry. I'd be like, you are actually following a god. It's just, their god, because the people that you work for, they absolutely serve the gods of this world. And whether you believe in them or not, you're following them because you're going along with their agenda. So it's like, yeah, it's definitely an occult theme, and there's a reason behind it. Like they really do have this like hidden knowledge, this esoteric knowledge, right? That we don't have, but and that's how they maintain the power, though, And so yeah, there's definitely something to all of that, and researching hermeneutics, you'll start to find that out.
Well, it's just basically natural philosophy, you know. It's trying to understand natural philosophy in a certain way. But Hermes Trismegistus and the Kybalion, that's where it comes from, really. For us, Kybalion is from the three initiates. Initiates of what, you might ask. But in my research, the Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic understanding of cosmology is pretty prevalent in these theoretical physicists. Michio Kaku or Lawrence Krauss, they're all, something actually comes out of nothing, and it's just a hijacking of something. And in this Baphomet thing, there's this coagulate and dissolve, which is just a natural process. So it's a hijacking of something that has been observed by wise men in the past. So as above, so below is pretty profound. When you look at a tree, roots go very deep, and that means that the tree can blossom further up. So yeah, satanic. Yeah, it's questionable. But I feel like this path to enlightenment can either involve this Luciferian way, the Prometheus, the snake in the garden, the pursuit of knowledge, the Tower of Babel. God doesn't really want you to fully comprehend what is going on, it seems. It becomes ineffable when you try to describe God. So it's pretty interesting, It's an interesting topic, so to speak.
There's another book you need to look into. It's called OASP, and in that book it has a cosmological stance that is different, but it goes along with the Bible and many other things. It also includes all other religion. What it basically says is that there were fallen angels who came on earth, and they declared themselves to be the true God, and they created different religions for their own purposes through different ages, and people mistake them to be the true God. People like Osiris, Yahweh, there are many of them. That book explains it, but these are not the true. Even there's nothing like true God. God is in everything. The Creator is in everything. These are just angels. Even God, in that book, they say God is a type of angel. Lord is a type of angel. So we're just dealing with some angels who trying to act like they're the supreme source to get people to go behind cults, build temples for them and worship them and feed their astral realm, from what I got from that book. So even when we're talking about the God of the Bible, how he's against people getting knowledge, it kind of makes sense. With that theory of them being fallen angels.
Yeah, I agree with you there, brother.
I mean, we do know that there were.
We were kind of getting into that conversation a couple weeks ago on Stationary Saturdays. Had a good back and forth. Super interesting, and I'm still learning some of that stuff too, man.
Can you hear me, Sacred? Hello?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
Hey,
you.
Sacred, can you hear Pizzo?
Oh no, I can't. I'll be back. My bad, Piazza. Go ahead, keep cooking,
Okay.
and then we'll slide over to D3.
It's cool. I was just gonna say, and it might have been Twitter being weird because I just had to reset my mic, but to that CLW guy, basically, man, like we know that there were angels that came to Earth because they, made offspring with people in Genesis 6, and we also know, according to the book of Jude, that God punished them in chains of everlasting darkness, awaiting the judgment of that great day. So, I mean, it stands to reason that if they were interacting with humans on that level, that they may have communicated with them, certain types of knowledge. And we also know that, when it says in the Old Testament that the tribes of the earth would worship the host of heaven, like the sun, moon, and stars, and Nimrod and all that stuff, like that they were in many cases. Paul talks about how they're like worshiping demons, and so I do think you're right. I don't think that the full extent of it is truly known today, because I think a lot of the pre-Diluvian world, a knowledge of it was lost. I think part of there were many purposes to the flood, right? I mean, destroying all of it was the purpose, but I think a lot of that probably included destroying some of the knowledge that was around from back then. So I think that it was intentional that we lost so much of our past, because our past was so horribly corrupt at that point. So my point in saying that is that we know that these things happen, but the specific extent to which they happened, I don't think that we know, and we can only speculate. So we just have to be careful. We have to be careful talking about like making like specific claims.
Let me ask you a question, Piezo. If you look at the story of Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve, so was the snake on the wrong, or was God on the wrong? If you analyze the story.
Did you hear him, Pizio?
Yeah, so the snake was it was a serpent. I mean, it doesn't say who the serpent was. It's taught that it's the devil. It may or may not have been. I mean, it at least was, some evil uh, you know, force, but I mean, I tend to follow the classic interpretation of the devil,
Okay, I'm back.
but it does technically
Gonna
only
tell
say
my
serpent.
things. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but that serpent is still symbolic. But you get what I'm trying to say. In the
oh,
Garden of Eden, the snake told, if you eat this fruit, you'll be like God. Then God said, if they eat the fruit from the tree of life, they will not know death, and he chased them out of the Garden of Eden. Now look at that story. It was the serpent on the wrong, or was God on the wrong? Because the
no,
serpent
God
wanted
was
them to gain
right.
knowledge.
God was correct. It talks in Ezekiel. Um, I think it is Ezekiel about oh, you are the anointed cherub that covers. You were in Eden, the garden of God, and every precious stone was your covering. And no iniquity was found in you, or you were perfect in all your ways until iniquity was found in you. I mean, that's talking about Lucifer. So
Lucifer is known as the morning star, and also Jesus is known as the morning star.
is Jesus is called the bright and morning star,
which is Lucifer.
No, Jesus is not.
Lucifer was referred to as the dawn bearer, which was a completely different word in Hebrew.
No, it's not
Lucifer
even
and
about.
the morning star and dawn bearer, two different
Mhm.
words from the Bible. The dawn bearer is the one that fell from heaven. The bright and morning star is referring to Christ. But etymologically, they're two different words, two different
But
root words.
astrologically, they are all
This is
representation
why I
of
don't
Venus,
agree
right?
with certain versions of the Bible, like King James. But whatever. But no, they're completely different. The description of them's different. Where they're at is different. One of them fell to earth. One of them's at the right hand of the Father. So don't come in here pulling that.
Okay, let me give you this story so you understand the metaphysical aspect of this story.
Hold on.
There was war in
Before you
heaven.
continue, before you continue, APS, I can finally hear you. I can hear you clicking a little bit. Just trying to researching crazy right now. But yeah, you good though. Go ahead, CLW. And BA, Taylor's back. Hey, I want to get into this. Y'all know what's gonna happen. Then after this quick back and forth, we'll go to D3 and then we'll slide to retarded. Okay. Go ahead.
Retarded AI. And you guys never say that.
Hold on 1 second. We're gonna go to CLW, then we'll go to you in a second, bro.
Okay, when you look at the story in the Bible, it goes like there was war in heaven. A third of heaven fell. Then there's this story. People in the Garden of Eden, they were high, but they disobeyed God and they were chaste and they were low. Then you hear the story of New Jerusalem coming from heaven, and you hear the story of Christ's ascension. The Christ ascension is just the completion of the Lucifer rebellion, them ascending back, going to heaven. The war in heaven is not literally people fighting with swords and all these other things. These are just symbolic language. They are not to be taken like literal the way people assume it to be. Even the own Bible tells you all these things are in allegory. It tells you from Abraham to Revelation is allegory. It's not to be taken literal.
According to what? And what's your sources that are saying that Jesus is Lucifer other than a Freemason lodge?
I'm not a Freemason. Come on.
Okay, well tell me
Just
where you're
because
getting this information. And I just
from my
posted,
own
by the
logic
way,
and
and I'm about to post it
reasoning.
up in the chat,
Jesus is not a
about
cherub.
morning star. Hold on.
Mhm.
The morning star in Revelations 22:16 being Proneos Aster, meaning morning star. And then there's dawn bearer in Isaiah 14:12. The word Halel. Anyway, they're completely different.
The words you're using doesn't even make much of a difference. What's the difference between morning and dawn?
Well, the fact is that they're different, right? Different stars. Stars can represent beings or angels, and one of the stars is fallen, and one of them is still our bright and shining star, right? And so, as I mentioned, stars in heaven has been representing as angels or beings. Like, for example, whenever Christ was born, there was a new star in the sky, which represents a new, maybe savior or whatever. The Bible doesn't go into the definition of what, but anyway, whenever Christ came around, there was a new star that was put in the sky in the heavens. And so one of them is still there, one of them is fallen. So you cannot sit there and try to compare them each for whatever agenda
Fallen from
you're
what?
pushing. What'd you say?
Where are these stars fallen from?
The heavens.
They are falling from the heavens. But
yeah,
you know
where
these
the
stars.
stars reside.
Do you know when you read the Bible, when they're talking about stars, and they're talking literally about astrology? It's not even about like some guys with some sword and wings falling from the sky.
How do you know stars don't represent angels?
Angels are everything. Are in everything. Even your name is an angelic name. I can get
Well,
an
it
angel
says
out of your
you will
name.
shine like the angels, right? Talking about in the afterlife, you will be among the shining ones. So, and whenever it talks about the bright and morning stars singing and the sons of God singing in the heavens, so there's
You
multiple
see,
verses
an
that.
angel is just a messenger, right? If you go to the basics of it, an angel is just a messenger of God, yeah? If you remove the stars and all that, yeah. It's just
That doesn't
something
mean
that
that
has a message
they're
from
not
God.
in heaven. That doesn't mean they're not in heaven, and that they have free will and that they can appear here on earth and do their
Like
own will.
if you look at the cosmology of the Bible, going by the Kabbalah and those things, there are 7 heavens, and these 7 heavens are linked to the so-called 7
Wait, you
planets
said the
that used to be.
Kabbalah? Why are you referencing the Kabbalah? We don't.
I'm not referencing
Well,
the Kabbalah. the cosmology
Jewish
of the
Kabbalah.
Bible
We
is,
don't.
is based off the
No, no, no.
Kabbalah. You can
We
no
believe in the
listen.
Bible, not the Kabbalah.
The oldest known planets are the 7 planets, which are also aligned with the 7 days of creation, which also aligns with the worshipping of the pagans, and all these things are connected.
So
Christianity
you're
did not
looking at
emerge out of
Kabbalistic information, but let me tell you, the planets and some people believe are the wandering stars that are described in the Bible. The wandering stars are the planets.
now where did the plants come from? Anyway, we're just talking.
The
Angel is
planets.
just
The
a
planets.
messenger. Hold on, an angel is just a messenger. When we talk about fallen angel, let's break down the metaphysics. A fallen angel is a messenger who doesn't have message that's coming from high up. Maybe they're coming from message that points you below, something like that. It's not like angels were fighting. That makes you misunderstand the whole concepts in those stories. They are all metaphysical allegories. It's not to be taken literally.
It sounds like you're trying to
According
say
to
that
what?
the Messiah is a cherub who fell and sinned and got kicked out of, his position that he was created in, and that's just not true. Jesus Christ is, eternal. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And it tells us all things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made. That's not an angel. God created all the angels. They were not divine beings. They were the highest order of the created beings until he made people. But people were special in their own way. And Jesus came in the form of a man when he was incarnate on earth. He was not an angel. The angels, right, minister to the Father and to the Son. So there's no chance of equating those two. It sounds like you're supporting some type of, I don't know, New Age / Thelemic / occultic / mysticism based ideology. I don't really know what you believe. I don't want to say anything specific to make false claims on you, but I will say that Jesus Christ is not an angel. We're not Jehovah's Witnesses here.
Let me become correct. I didn't say he's an angel. I said the allegories and the stories in the Bible, it paints a consistent story in metaphysical sense. Even the ascension of Jesus and the fall of Satan is all related.
So what's your point again?
Temple. All these things
Do
are
you think
related.
do you think Jesus is the Son of God?
I am the Son of God too. What do you mean?
Oh, you think you believe in Christ consciousness?
Literally, you are God. Everything is God. That's what you people are missing.
Yeah, but we didn't create ourselves, buddy.
If
You
you're
did.
God, then why don't you teleport to me right now into my room and give me a steak because I'm hungry?
Because that's an idea of that's the idea you have what you think it means to be God.
God is all powerful, so if you're God, then you could do anything. I asked you
Isn't
to.
God omnipresent? Let me ask you, isn't God omnipresent?
Yeah.
Aren't I part of the things that are presently available right now? Isn't God part of me? Aren't I God?
Well, I would have to ask you a question. Is Jesus of Nazareth, is he the Christ, the Messiah, and has he come in the flesh to earth?
The whole
Like, it's a yes or no.
that manifested into physical reality that changed the physical events on earth. It didn't happen physically. They convoluted stories of
So
3
his
people
answer
and
is
created
no.
the Christ that you know. Yeah?
Well, then if
Well,
your answer is no, then my faith tells me that God is not in you.
that's what the
Your
Bible
idea
says.
of God,
That's the spirit. But look, Jesus did come as a real human being. It's not just an allegory or some whatever.
where did
The
he
events
come
in the
from?
Bible are literal.
Where did
They
who come from?
literally have archaeological evidence for them. So
Where did he come from? If Israel was
God?
made in
God is
1945,
eternal.
huh?
whatever, dude. I don't know what kind of agenda you're pushing, some Luciferian garbage, but
It's not Luciferian. We're
See,
just
that's what
talking
I'm
historical
saying. You
facts.
bring this stuff up and they come out of the rocks. It's so creepy. That's why I left that whole industry, man. It's demonic.
Those people, the people you're calling demonic, those are just people infested with parasites.
Okay.
They
Okay. Sure.
tackle energy. Like literally, there's no devil. There's no devil sitting in hell with a pitchfork waiting for you, or there's no God in the sky looking at the mistake you're going to do next to write in a book. That's just a misconceived idea
Yeah,
of
you
reality.
think you're God, right?
Yo,
You
what
too
up,
are
Big
God. You
Ralph?
just don't know it yet. Even your Bible tells you are God.
You'll
It does
die
not
like
tell
a
me I'm
you'll
God. It tells
die
me that's
like a man.
blasphemy to say that.
You will
Let me
die
open
like
it to
you. The
you.
Bible
You
says
think
you will
you
die like a mortal.
you don't know your Bibles, my friend. Let me show you. It's many places in the Bible it says you are God.
Little G.
It
Little
doesn't say
G.
you are capital G God.
You
It
people
says
contradict yourself.
you
Isn't
think
God
you're God.
omnipresent?
I just
Doesn't that
told
make
you the
everything
verse that you're
God?
going to look for. I just gave you the response to it. It says, "But you will die like mortals." Read the next line.
The body is what dies. You don't understand resurrection. The
Okay,
body is
you're
what
quoting
dies.
a verse where
The
I just
spirit
gave
is
you the very
eternal.
next phrase
And
to
this
it.
is the understanding
Because
of
I know that
resurrection.
And there's a second death for the spirits that reject Yahweh.
There's no second death. You only the body is the only thing that die. The
Well, he
spirit is
believes in the
eternal.
cabal. Obviously, he's referenced the cabal. Is that where you're getting your information from, by the way?
No. Have you seen me reading the Kabbalah?
Your PZO, we can hear you click clacking, brother. You looting those chests or what?
Let me show you the verses in the Bible that tells you you are God. Let me look them up.
I'm
Maybe
actually
that's from
done
the
with
Kabbalah.
listening to this conversation.
Yeah, that
So
sounds. I like what Jasmine said.
But you people are misunderstanding me. My whole idea was just to make you aware of the metaphysical and allegorical concepts in the Bible that people take them literally and miss the whole lesson. It's not even to argue about Satanists and all these other things.
okay, well, go write a book and maybe we'll buy
let
it.
me,
Yeah.
There's a Ezekiel 28 that also talks about people who think that they're God. So Ezekiel 28:7, it says, "Therefore, this is what the sovereign
There you
Lord says: Because you think you are wise as a God, I'm going to bring foreigners against you, the most ruthless of nations. They will draw their swords against your beauty and wisdom, piercing your shining splendor. Bring you down to the pit, and you will die a violent death in the heart of the seas. Will you then say, I am God, in the presence of those who kill you? You will be but a mortal, not a God, in the hands of those who slay you." This is Ezekiel 28, verse 7 through 9.
Do you have a Bible there?
Yeah.
Can you open 1 John 4:4?
I know what you're referencing, by the way, and it's not going to tell you that you're God. It's going to say lowercase g gods, and if you know what that means, that could just mean an eternal being. So just like the angels are sons of God, right? But they're not the Almighty Creator. They're not the Most High God. So I
Okay,
just want to
when you're
point
done
that
with
out.
that, I'll give you another verse. It's not just in that
You're
verse
gonna
alone.
resort.
We play a
Sorry.
different game.
No.
To
We play a different
Psalms,
game.
right?
Okay, so look. I'll give Taylor. You had a question for CLW. I'll let CLW respond. I'll let Taylor get the last word, and we'll go to D3, Gilly, and then I'll try to rotate. And if we want to double back to this in a second, then we'll do that.
That's
No, I
okay.
feel
We're
that.
finished. Thank you.
I know what he's gonna say. He's gonna go to Psalms. People always resort there.
Also
But
Exodus,
It's
Genesis.
enough. It's enough.
but let me tell you, we're not God, and we can't even create the things that God created, and we can't even fathom His creation. So
Like
I'm
if you read
sorry
the
about
Bible,
that,
God
buddy.
did not create water. Where did the water come from when he was hovering over it?
Through Him, all things are created, buddy. That includes the
Except
water.
water.
Right. Okay. Except water,
No,
apparently.
he made the water too. You just got to look at the word Mayim and Shamayim and see what it means. It's
But
just
he was
not.
hovering over the waters before the creation, before he spoke, even he was hovering over the waters.
No,
What do you mean?
it says in the beginning he made the heaven and the earth, and then it says he hovered over the waters. The water was part of the creation of heaven because the word water is Mayim. The word heaven is Shamayim.
Okay,
That
can you
which
read
is
that
above the
verse again?
waters.
Let's just recap by going to the source. Let's read that again. If you have the Bible.
Yeah,
Well, I gave you the
Genesis
answer,
1
man. I don't
1.
continue to or care to engage anymore, so I'll let Taylor.
Genesis 1:1 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Okay. Then it says, "Now the earth was formless and empty; darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters." Okay, so in the beginning, He created the heavens and the earth. The heavens would be like the universe, right? And the earth, which contained water. But I'm not sure which agenda you're pushing in here. I don't
But
get
go
it. But
ahead. When you read
you
during
should
the
just be
creation, you had them
forthcoming with
create the
what you
firmament,
believe in.
separating the sky from.
I'm
Go
forthcoming. I'm
on.
telling you, I'm a Christian. Okay, I'm not scared to hide what I believe in. But you're not sharing what you believe in. You're beating around the bush, just trying to bash the
No, I
Bible
don't
all the
believe
time.
in any religion. That's what you mistake me for.
I don't
I
believe in
can be a
religion
Hindu, a
either, because
Christian, a
God is
Muslim,
tired of
any of
religions
those.
in the Bible.
Hmm?
I'm not religious either. I feel you.
But you are acting like one.
No,
You
I
still
believe in the
stuck
Word
to
of
a
God.
dogma.
I believe in the Most High God. I don't believe in religion. The
The
Bible
creator
is
has no
against
dogma.
religion.
All dogmas are man-made.
This is
Do
how
you
I know you
understand
haven't
that?
read the Bible, because the Bible is not pro-religion. Multiple times
It
does God
is.
say He's tired of
Fear
the religious.
God. It tells you to fear God. It tells you to kill babies and all
Fear
these other
God.
things. What do you
Where
mean?
where does it say that? And by the way, fear God does not
Fear of
equal
God is the
religion.
beginning of, I don't know, of knowledge or something like that. It's there in the Bible.
Fearing God
It's not
does
even
not
love of
equal
God. Huh?
religion, buddy.
Hmm?
Fearing the Lord is not religion.
Fear. What does fear? Fear is as a low energy. It has nothing to do
Yeah,
with
you
God
should
or bringing
revere the
closer to
Lord that
God.
created you.
No, love is what creates. The image of God is love, which is the opposite of fear.
No, you should revere and fear the Lord, because not only does the Lord have love, but wrath to those who are wicked. To the wicked, they're going to perish.
Let me ask
It is
you,
what it
you
is.
Taylor, you are a parent, right?
No.
Okay, hold on. Let's just leave it right there. I'll double back to this in a second. We might even pick this back up because stationary Saturdays usually get lit anyway. We we get close to stationary Saturdays across this side of the plane anyway. So I like it, but let's go to D3 because he's been patient. I want to say what up to my guy. I think Gilly want to jump in here too. And I do want to get to retarded. Do I have to call you that, bro? Like, what else can I call you? Like,
You can call me AI, man. I mean, if
okay,
you don't want
we'll
to
call
say the
you
word,
AI.
but
Yeah. So let's
His
do that.
full name is Retarded AI.
So
yeah,
let's
that's
do.
and I have a PhD, so it's technically Dr. Retarded AI, but nobody ever says it the right way. So
Yeah.
Well, we fully acknowledge your credentials here, Doctor.
There you go. All right, so
thank you.
I
I
can't wait to get
appreciate
to
that.
that. Let's go to D3 first. D3, what up, brother?
What's going on? What's going on? Hello to the Flat Fam and all the Globe Gang. I was in a space earlier, uh, and there was a guy there who was mentioning the reflection, I guess, or the opposite, kind of the mirroring of what goes on in the North Pole with the South Pole, as far as like the Aurora Borealis and the other one, the opposite. I forget what they call it, Australis or something like that. I wanted to know what you guys have as the explanation for that on a plane. He was trying to make it sound as if it's not possible on a plane. Personally, I never really looked into that stuff. So what do you guys have on that?
They ain't got nothing.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Let's try me again.
Okay, so you know how we have like the Northern Lights, and then I guess there's another one in the south.
Yeah, the
At
Aurora
basic
Australis. Quite right.
Australis, right? So I was close. In a space earlier, a gentleman was saying that it's essentially impossible on a plane, as they're kind of mirroring each other or something like that. He didn't really get into the full point of how that mirroring was happening, or what he believed was happening. We went into something else afterwards, but what would be the rebuttal there? Because I don't know too much about those.
Anybody else want to take a crack before I do? All right. Well, let us take a little travel up the staircase of disbelief and deal first with the aspect of the firmament and electrostatics. You're wondering what's producing those effects in the first place, the aurora, the halo, the glowing. Well, that very well could be induced ionization of atmospheric layers above you based on how much grounding is going on between the center of the firmament and the parts of the firmament that are much closer to our ground. This could be an effect, a a temporary, an oscillating, a recurring effect of some change overhead that we're not aware of at all. Yet we do see the effect where there is an interaction in terms of the charge above and the ground below and the resolution of charge, how that is happening both on the other side of the firmament rather, as well as our side of it. And if you have seen upper atmospheric, like very high altitude shots of lightning phenomena, you'll find that they're geometrically, they are so dissimilar. And that has to do with the lack of medium, as in far less dense gas layer up there, and charge resolves in an entirely different geometric shape, fashion, format on its way down toward the ground, where we see it in terms of fork with a much denser medium and still the same voltage potential coming down, trying to resolve and find ground wherever it can through the least resistive path. And that, of course, will be the path with the densest medium, which is why this happens more when there is more water vapor in the air, for example. So same kind of interaction, except at a much higher set of altitudes and likely through an entirely different density of medium on the other side of the firmament, which just happened to be in the middle of this intense voltage, electrostatic voltage source above that is constantly seeking ground. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So his thing was, he was saying like that it's impossible on a plane, and I was saying like, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's legitimate on both, but I don't really have a way of saying how. So he understood the mechanics of it, like what you were explaining. He has his own details on that, but geometrically, does it make sense on both? And how does it make sense on both? How would I argue that to somebody who thinks it doesn't make sense on both?
Well, I have a difficulty in trying to nail down and identify everything about the mechanics of the process. I am averse to go the path of the Globy, of the mainstream, where they just go, oh, it's because of that. It's because ionized gas coming from the sun, because this was turned over that. And you know what I mean? It's, I'm not quite satisfied with that. Oh, it must be plasma. It must be because there's the emission, because there's this big giant thing coming out of the sun. That's why. I don't know. I think they're related, but I don't think causally that they're coming anywhere near the truth. So in terms of what you can offer somebody else, in terms of more truth, I think you give us $60 million a day. Let us work on the problem for 30 years. And then we'll get back to you with some real freaking answers. You know what I mean? That'd be just fine.
Hey, we'll get back to you with some pictures and more funding.
Yeah, in terms of expectation from the other side of the aisle, I would hope for a little bit of reciprocity. Reciprocity is the word, sorry. And I don't know, until we get there, I don't see how they can produce the same type of expectations rationally.
So I just want to say, first of all, I've been like analyzing data for like 2 days straight, so I'm like really tired. So I'm sorry, guys, if I'm like whatever. But anyway,
ready to kill.
yeah, for sure, that at the very least. But what about
On the edge
stuff
of flat Earth.
okay, yeah, what about like the electromagnetic field, right? That is supposed to cause like us to like stay on the ground, kind of like the replacement for gravity. Couldn't
That's
that
the
like
electrostatic,
maybe?
right?
Yeah,
Not
it's
the
electrostatic.
electromagnetic. Yeah, if it was
Okay.
electromagnetic, it wouldn't affect
This is why I
trees
need to
and,
look through his database so I can learn all
It's the same thing. Electromagnetism, electrostatics, it's the same thing.
No, they are hardly the same thing, my
No,
man.
you are an idiot. I've determined that already. So it's pretty obvious you're
Okay,
not
guys.
smart enough to have these discussions. The thing I've noticed,
Aren't they related, but like two parts of something, like just related but not exactly the same?
No.
the equations of electromagnetism describe both waves and they can be applied to static configurations of charges.
The electrostatics have nothing to do with wave mechanics at all. It's
Okay,
merely
see, this is what I mean.
are like the
it's merely a
hardcore
charge potential
pressures.
gradient. No. It's not the same at all. Stop calling me an idiot. You're actually really hurting yourself by doing that. I'm sure you.
No, I'm retarded, but you might be something beyond what I am. So.
Okay, wait, hold on. I was
for
gonna
sure.
say, couldn't that be responsible for the northern lights and stuff?
Well, that's not the question though. Like, so the question was, what geometrically, what is the difference between having those happen on a ball versus having those happen on a plane? Are they
It could be simply a misperception of the orientation of polarity of the mechanics involved. You know what I mean? We cannot know.
Got you.
Couldn't it be like the Rupes nigra or something? The big rock, the big black rock?
Let me read something
And then
to
like
you.
emanating that charge to like the end of the firmament?
That's just more
Taylor.
data we don't have. You know what I mean? We're guessing when we go in that direction, right?
Right.
Well, I am
They have
guessing,
lied to
frankly.
people that they are.
Quite frankly. That was a guess, by the way. Sorry.
Hold on, Taylor. I'm trying to answer your question. It
Go
has
ahead.
been taught erroneously in regard to two powers which do not exist as they have been taught. These are the attractions of gravity in the Earth and the North Pole magnetism in the Earth. So those are just phenomena that people don't really understand what they're describing. The positive force of the vortex is therefore from the external towards the internal, and the negative force of the vortex is towards the poles and in the ascendant towards the external pole from the sun center. It may be said the force of the vortex is towards its own center, but turns at the center and escapes outwards at the North Pole, after which the same power applies and is all one power, although for convenience called positive and negative. Vortexia can be concentrated in iron and steel and in iron ore, in which condition they are called magnetic. And these substances, if poised as needles, will assume the line of polarity of the vortex or its poles. As one may draw a line from the east to the center of the earth, then in a right angle due to north. Pardon this book, they think it's a globe, but they explain the concept of the vortex well. Then in a right angle due north, which will be the current of the vortex until the center were filled with the corporeal body. Vortexia in the atmosphere will combine oxygen and hydrogen, and an explosion ensues, which is called thunder. If a wire be raised up in the air, a lightning rod, it forms a negative center for which the vortexia flies, following it down into the earth where it is dissolved. If a wire extend from city to city and vortexia is charged at one end, it will occur at the other pole and at times even escape in a flame of fire, electric flash. In the same manner, the vortex of the earth constantly charges the earth with its vortexia in the east and west, and it occurs in the northern and southern pole of the vortex in flames of fire, which are called borealis. It sometimes happens over high iron mountains that the light occurs in other direction. A spiritual person can see a vortexia as is proven by placing a horseshoe magnet before him in the dark, and he will describe the polar light escaping, even though he has not previously been informed. When vortexia occurs in flames of fire, it is called electricity, but when it flies dormant, as in iron, it is called magnetism. Where two material substances are rubbed quickly together, friction and heat results. This is an occurrence of vortexia. In the beginning of the Earth's vortex, the current concentrated certain substances, which will be described later in the center, where by friction, the vortex manifested in heat, so that the congregation of materials of Earth's substances were together. They were as a molten mass of fire. And for a long period of time after the fire disappeared, two great lights occurred on the north and the south, where the Earth are central planets like the sun. The light will have been all around, in which case it will have been called a photosphere. By vortexia was the Earth first formed as a ball of fire. Let me stop it there. But you have understand what they're explaining about how this vortex is what you call magnetism, electricity. It's just there's no North Pole or South Pole. It's just part of the same. What do you call it? Torus or something.
Right. Same construct.
Yeah.
But the thing is that so in that construct, you do have a particular geometry, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, where first of all, if we're gonna claim that it's a plane, but they're claiming it's a ball, and in a torus, if you're looking at a torus field, and it's forming kind of a spherical shape with its rotation and its vortexes, right? It's got the dual vortexes. That is that would be a sphere. However, if we're not the sphere, but we're somewhere in the sphere, how do we see the things that we see like that? And the same thing these are the only two observations that I think in the sky are actually even interesting. It's the North Star and the South Star, or whatever is down there, that people in Australia are always talking about, and how that's possible to be seen on a flat plane. We have some ideas about that. I haven't heard any like solid proof about what that phenomenon is, how it's visible like that, or you can't see the North, but you can see something in the South. And this is kind of like in that same alley with the lights above the North and the lights above the South. So I was just hoping if somebody had an explanation for how we can see both on a plane rather than a sphere. The electrical stuff, you know, I think I have a general understanding of how that is.
I
But
don't even really get how it works on a sphere.
well, if you look at what he's talking about there, he's saying like it's two things, but it's really just one thing, which is, you know, that's kind of, I guess, true. But one of them would be what we would call, I guess, the negative, and one would be what we call the positive. That's just our way of observing it and denoting what happens with those two sides of it, I guess. But they tend to form in a spherical manner, right?
The first thing I would say is if you're looking up at the sky, like, and as much see, we're curious people. We want to know what this is, and it is interesting and fascinating. I want to know more about it, but you have to say, and honestly, it's happening on a plane. We all know it is. You're still looking up at the sky, so you have to you have to tell them it's still begging the question. It's happening. We know it's happening on a plane. So, and what Stone was saying, it's something to do with the magnetic field and the hole up there and the mountain. I think that's what Tyler was saying. It's something flowing down and up at the same time. What it is, how it's catching the light, I don't know. But yeah, it's you have the first thing I have to say. It is begging the question because it's happening on a sphere, and you're still looking up at the sky. So what that has to do with what's under our feet, I don't know. But because if we want to know what this is, don't fall into the trap is what I'm saying. You know, there's something definitely flowing in and up. You know, does anybody remember there's one eclipse? Well, the last one they filmed. If you saw it live, you saw something flaring through whatever blocking the sun. It's not the moon. It is not the moon. And I might have a handy this video of an eclipse from an airplane, and you can see there's no object. There's a shroud coming from somewhere. I think it's from the North Pole, and because that's where the magnetic field is generated, not from the core, a molten core that does not exist. So, but yeah, this is definitely interesting. I want to know more about the auroras up there. And, yeah, but oh, thanks for the space sacred.
Could it have to do with
There's
like cold
another
weather?
thing. Hold on. Let me rectify something.
Wait, I
In
have a
this book,
hypothesis.
huh?
Okay, wait. Isn't there more static electricity in like cold weather, or am I tripping? I heard whenever it's cold, there's more static electricity. So maybe, just maybe, in the cold regions,
It seems that way to me.
Hold on, wait, but I did look it up, and there's actually like found in multiple like countries around the world. It's not just at the very tip of the poles. So I'm thinking it might have a correlation to do with the cold weather.
That's a different causal
No,
factor.
I just read here. They have
Huh?
explained to you even how the heat is a phenomenon of the vortex.
Okay,
So
that was
they
a
are all
good theory.
related.
I'm gonna look it up
Yeah.
more.
No, more static in the air because it's colder is a different causal factor entirely. If you go back and check out the Concordia diagram
Who
for
is the stone guy?
starters.
Does anybody in this space know this guy?
Hey, stop interrupting, Stone.
What's your
Yo,
problem?
why?
Yeah,
Why?
man,
Do you
grow
guys
up.
know who this guy is?
Hold on. Yo, retarded PhD, AI, whatever your name is. Why you so triggered at Stone, gang? Every time Stone get to talking, you get triggered coming off your mic. Well, don't worry, man. We're gonna get to you. I got a few questions for you as well, but yeah, man, it's the emotions, man. Just take it down a notch, my man. Take it down a notch. Stone right here. He with all the smoke too. Trust me. Go ahead, Stone.
It's his first name, Sacred. I mean, look.
Thank you. Back to the Concordia diagram, which has to do with the latent heat of vaporization rate of air relative to its temperature. This is how we come about to two different humidity values. They call them relative humidity and absolute humidity. One is relative to, or actually they both point to how much water vapor air can hold at a given temperature. And as the air gets warmer, it is able to hold more moisture before it saturates and produces fog, starts to look for condensation nuclei and produce rain, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, cloud formation. This is all the same mechanism, and it's entirely a different process.
Thanks for that. Hey, Sacred, I'd like to ask Retarded a question after Taylor's hand, because she just put her hand up. Is that cool? All right.
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead,
go
Taylor,
ahead,
and then we'll slide to D3 to ask him a question.
Okay, I think I just made a breakthrough. I just looked it up. Okay, does cold weather have to have anything to do with the ionization, magnetic field, etc.? It says cold weather does influence ionization processes in the atmosphere, particularly in relation to electromagnetic phenomena like auroras. The auroras, I cannot say that word, I'm sorry, I'm very tired. Or northern and southern lights are caused by charged particles from the sun colliding with gases in the Earth's atmosphere. This interaction leads to ionization, where electrons in atmosphere gases are excited to higher energy states and then release energy as light whenever they return to lower energy states. Cold temperatures are crucial for optimal aurora viewing conditions. Clear, cold nights with minimal light pollution enhance visibility, as colder air can hold less moisture, resulting in clear skies. Additionally, the dynamics of Earth's magnetosphere and ionosphere, which are affected by cold plasma populations, play a role in the generation and behavior of auroras. Cold ions and electrons in the polar wind contribute to various processes that influence auroral displays and overall magnetosphere-ionosphere coupling. So anyway, I just want to read that because I think maybe, just maybe, we made a whole breakthrough just now in auroras. I can't say it, I'm sorry. In terms of how that works on a flat Earth. So anyway, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with myself right now.
Also, Taylor, also you need to understand, for
That was
example,
pretty
heat.
good. That was just like
Heat,
my idea. Like, maybe
yeah.
just cool weather. But that could be
Heat
right,
heat
huh?
is the release of the vortex energy we were reading earlier. All heat phenomena is the release of the vortex energy.
So who
So
asked
all these
that
things are
question earlier
related.
again?
CLW, she can't hear you, bro. So I think
What's
we have
wrong?
to. Right? Am I
My
wrong, Taylor?
mic.
Can you hear CLW because he was speaking and then you guys are both speaking at the same time?
I can hear him.
Oh, never mind. She was just ignoring you, bro.
I just wanted to make sure the guy that came in didn't leave that was asking about, whatever. Anyway.
But you understand what I'm saying? The heat phenomena is the release of the vortex, so it's
Yeah,
related.
she heard you, dude. We all heard you. You're good. You don't have to repeat it.
The
You
same.
can stop anytime.
Hmm?
It's free.
Pardon?
Totally.
Yeah.
Hold on, CLW.
we heard
They
you,
say
bro.
D3.
I did say D3 was next. Just give us 1 second, and we do have a couple new speakers that I want to get to, and then we'll double back. Go ahead, D3, and then we'll slide over to. I think we have.
Cool, cool. So, Stone offered, at least attempted to offer an explanation for what's going on, and I think from the electromagnetic perspective, it was a decent explanation. I'm more interested in the geometry of it, like even what Taylor was talking about. It like cold may affect it, but we have it consistently at 2 poles or 2 areas.
Your analysis was all right, but for the electromagnetic comment, it's not electromagnetic, it's electrostatic. It's an entirely different process. Yeah, whole different set of mechanics.
But
Excellent.
the thing is,
and
with the
that's
geometry,
where I wanted to get with Dr.
Everyone's wearing coats. It's coats. It's electrostatic.
AI.
I can't touch my front door without being electrocuted. That's my theory.
One mic, guys. One mic.
Yeah. So, Dr. AI. So, can you elaborate a little bit on what Stone was talking about with the electrostatic phenomena, and then do you have any idea about why it would or wouldn't be possible on both a globe and a plane?
Yeah, I have several ideas, but first of all, I have to preface the fact that I'm a mathematician. I studied logic and differential geometry, model theory. And what that teaches you is paying attention to the semantics and the logic of what is being said, and not just the tone and the way it's being said. This Stone guy is giving me a very specific vibe when he speaks, which is the following.
Wow.
The content of his speech is nil. Logically and semantically, it's non-existent.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off, brother, but we're very familiar with Stone in this space. He's been here a long time, and he offers a lot to the conversation. So let's refrain from any personal attacks here.
Yeah.
And just
okay,
get to what your
here's the other
opinions
thing.
are.
Your question, there is no royal road to understanding reality. You will have to study differential geometry, cohomology, and homology, which is the geometric aspect of differential geometry, electromagnetism, electrostatics, and most of the foundational aspects of physics. So when you ask these questions and this Stone guy gives you these very simple answers with no logical content, that pisses me off, which means, here's the other thing that pisses me off. Most of you in this space seem to be genuinely curious about a bunch of things, unless you're all trolling, which is also a possibility. But this Stone guy, again, gives me psychopathic vibes. And I'm almost never wrong about this stuff.
Psychopathic, bro.
You're projecting. That's what globe. That's what globe code does. It's okay. It's okay.
But if
hold on. You know what's interesting though? What's interesting is that you led with your credential. You said you're all about logic, but you've been having emotional outbursts since you've been up here. That is interesting. No matter what your view of Stone may be. I mean, Stone wasn't even talking to you, to be totally honest. But focus on the content, brother. Focus on the content, and then we'll start crashing out after we get to the actual content of what D3 is actually talking about. Because I do want to get to the focus, because if you do have a specialty, we want to be able to extract that value instead of you just crashing out in the Twitter space, brother. Like, what I'm saying, we could do that all day. But let's try to get to it. All right.
No, I mean, I don't have much to say because the Stone guy has already pissed me off too much. But CLW is the only other guy in here who knows what he's talking about. A few things he said make a lot of sense, which is the kingdom of heaven on earth is created by people acting like they're already in heaven instead of waiting for the afterlife. That's obviously true.
All right,
the logical content of it is valid.
Okay, so essentially you have nothing to say about the question, but that's cool. If you're that triggered, it's okay. We get it. Happens sometimes. I appreciate you anyway.
No, it's fine. I mean, you don't have to say any of those things because half the time. Anyway, I'm gonna follow the Stone guy, see what he's up to.
Oh shit! Stone.
What in the world, bro?
I feel safer already.
Yo.
Yeah, you should stay, man. It seems like you're a smart guy. You have things to say, so maybe I can learn a thing or two from you.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not creepy at all.
Yeah, that's kind of weird how I'm the creep here and not the stone guy.
I am
Well,
so unimpressed.
I'm not trying to impress you, bro. I'm not here to impress you.
You have no self-awareness
Why
whatsoever. It's
are
okay.
you here?
It's okay.
I'm still trying to figure
Yeah.
that out. Why are you here?
Why am I here?
triggers us,
Because of
controls
guys
us,
like you,
brother.
Stone. I'm here because of guys like you.
No, you're the comic relief.
Yeah, all right. What's this guy? AI. Redeem yourself. Flat Earth PhD or Globe Earth?
Oh no, man, you guys are insane with the flat Earth stuff.
Oh, I gave you an alley oop, but
You
you
knew
just let
he
it
was
go
a
out of
phony.
bounds.
Come on.
Okay, so let's start from here because I am curious. Because you like the math and all this stuff and calculations, but do you have any exclusive evidence for the Earth being in motion from all of your history of studies?
Here
I
we
mean,
go.
you would have to like be in a rocket if you wanted to test that theory.
Yeah, here we go.
Did you wait, Stone? Was that a backflip or
Don't you mean
that was a
Starship
front flip?
now? I thought there's Starship now.
Hold on.
Rocket?
So wait a
I'm
second.
sorry.
Wait a second. I would have to be in a rocket in order to test that theory. That's interesting.
The
Because
irony, hold on one sec, Sacred. I got to barge in. The irony of that comment is that that's actually something I directly address in the inability to falsify anything about time dilation or length interaction in my latest video on BitChute. So enjoy following me, retard. That would be a good one.
he's kind of validated for calling you retard. That's your name. But anyway, I don't appeal to that, so I'm trying to call you something else. But rockets, I would have to be in a rocket in order to determine that the Earth is in motion. Funny enough, that don't they use like a Earth center, Earth fix coordinate system?
The rockets?
Don't they treat the Earth like it's stationary?
Yeah, they do.
So how can I determine that Earth is in motion if they have to treat it like it's stationary?
Because your coordinate system that you use, you can change it. It's relative.
So not exclusive evidence for Earth in motion.
Like if you were on the moon, you would see the Earth moving.
Also going from the rocket to the moon now. Okay. So if I was on the moon, how would I know that the Earth is in motion?
Because you could change the coordinate system to be stationary on the moon, and relative to the moon, the Earth would be moving. If nothing was moving, then you would go to the moon and you would see the Earth exactly where you left it.
So it could be the opposite though. Could be the Earth stationary and the moon moving, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could also introduce a third body, and so you could say you go to Mars, and then relative to Mars, now is the stationary coordinate system, the moon and the Earth would be moving.
But this is interesting, right? Because again, you led with your PhD and the credentials and stuff like that. And what I asked was for like exclusive evidence for the Earth being in motion. And then every time that you answered, you gave something that wasn't exclusive.
Because there is no such thing as an exclusive theory of science. It's all hypotheses, assumptions, and predictions.
I didn't ask for exclusive theory of science. I said exclusive evidence for the Earth being in motion, and you gave me things that wasn't exclusive.
Yeah, but you would have to first define your terms. That's what it means to have a logical discussion. In a logical discussion, you define your terms, and then you define your assumptions, your axioms, and then based on those, you have a discussion and you present proofs, evidence for your claims.
Okay, yeah. So evidence, you said that Earth is a globe. I'm assuming that you think it's going around the sun. But the exclusive part, right? I don't want something that's not exclusive where I can change it and can work either way, because that's the antithesis of exclusive. You do agree, right?
What is your definition of the word exclusive?
Yo, why does this happen? They said this in the Globe Earth debate yesterday. Like, yo, how do you define proportionate? Yo, what does exclusive mean? Bro, what's going on, bro? I'm trying to learn from you. Like,
my man's a professor
we're
of
having
logic,
a logical
dude.
discussion.
Empirical evidence void of logical fallacies.
It's like a legal contract. You got to define your terms before you engage.
I mean, that's what I mean. You can have any discussion with Stone that you want. He will tell you sweet nothings, and
Oh
he
my
will
God,
whisper
bro! I'm not.
nonsense in your ear that you want to hear.
I got a
Yo,
real
Stone. I don't know
He's got a
why this
crush
man
on
got.
you.
No, this guy is a hardcore anti-FE groupie. Put the
He's a
hashtag in front of
Stone.
it,
They
guys.
don't got nothing to do with Flat Earth, Stone. This got to do with you, brother.
Yeah,
My
he came in
God,
here to target you, Stone. That was
he's a
interesting.
fan. This guy is a
They
serious
sent him.
fan.
It means you're
I
doing
am
something right.
honored.
It means you're doing something right.
I'm putting
You
that
know?
right next to my word salad badge.
Well, what's the irony?
Great.
The irony of him saying he's Mr. Logical over here, but you can't detect the motion of the Earth from the Earth's surface. So he says go to the moon, which is moving around the Earth as the Earth's moving, as if that would mean you could detect it.
So we're
I
crazy.
also said you could go to Mars, but you guys missed that part because the reason I believe you're confused about that one is because with 3 bodies in motion, you haven't thought that far. So you don't.
No, we did. We looked in a 3-body problem, and it's still a problem to this day.
Okay, I guess you did, and you guys know about it. Mr. Stone can explain it. He can explain the 3-body
But you
problem.
just told us that we didn't go that far, and then I said, well, there's a problem in your paradigm, and then you had to concede that I'm right, that you have a problem in your paradigm, and I still haven't got anything exclusive. But to answer your question, what I mean by exclusive is like restricted to one thing. So your thing is a globe Earth in motion. So I want you to provide some evidence as a PhD who, completely appeals to logic and ration, not emotion, right? If you have any exclusive evidence restricted to your paradigm, unless it's just a blind belief and you can't substantiate it.
All of mathematics is a blind belief. What do you mean?
Oh, I wasn't asking about mathematics. Again, I was asking about
The
exclusive
physical sciences are
evidence
based on
for
mathematics.
Earth
You
in
understand that?
motion. That's what I was asking about.
All of physics is based on mathematics. It's axiomatic.
That would be a no. New people?
Physics is defined with mathematics, right? But it's about our physical reality. So if you believe that you are physically in motion around the sun, in an amount of like 66.6 thousand miles per hour, I was just asking if you have any exclusive evidence to support your belief as a PhD who's got history in the sciences.
Yeah, I would like to hear Mr. Stone's explanation because he seems to know a lot compared to you guys who just ask questions.
Yo.
Stone, like, is there some history here, Stone? Did I miss something?
I have no idea who this clown is. Hit me with that last question.
Oh, you don't know who I am? That's all right, man. I'm your biggest fan. I'm here to
Clearly,
learn and understand what you have to say about the motion of the Earth. Go
Hold
ahead.
on, AI, where do you know Stone from?
He gotta know him, bro.
No,
You'd be
I don't
surprised
know.
how many of us have
But I have a
fans,
sense of
probably.
things, and
Yeah.
I think
lot
Stone
of
and
us.
I are going to be great friends.
Rough start, my brother.
Wow.
You seem to mistake me for a masochist.
No, I don't think you're a masochist, Stone. I think you're something else.
You think I'm just going to keep coming back to your insults, just begging for more of that shit?
I think you'll
You
keep
really
coming
think
back
so,
to
buddy?
the space because I think
Stone, you're living in your head rent free.
Yo, what is happening, yo?
You think I come here for you, retard?
No,
I
I
didn't even
think you
know
come
you
here for something
existed
else.
until minutes ago, guys.
I
think you
gotta
come here for something
apologize.
else.
What it is.
I gotta apologize for engaging this guy. I thought it would be a little more fruitful.
This is really crazy, man. This is a day to remember, I must say.
My apologies, Stone.
No, bro. We have
Louder Friday, Stationary Saturdays, episode 110. Retweet, repost.
We're truth seekers. We're truth seekers. We have to engage. You know? Wow.
No, we give them all
That's
a
totally
mic.
worth it, though.
I got no problem with that. Well, we get some coherence. I'm waiting for some of that. That'd be great.
So, okay, just to end this one part off, I do want to get to I2C just to see if he has anything to add. And then Taylor got her hand up. I think Gilly wanted to say something too, and I'm going to bring some other people up. I think there's maybe some requests. But, hey, what do you think about that? What do you think about you having like
this history of credentials and the sciences and super self-proclaimed logical and all this stuff, and you believe that we're emotion, but it's difficult for you to provide exclusive evidence for that claim.
No, I told you, man. I want to hear what exclusive evidence Mr. Stone has to offer.
Bro, like, what is your obsession? I'm asking you a direct question, man. See, this is the problem. Like, the PhDs, man, you are supposed to be setting the example, right? Like, we're here in a Twitter space on a Friday night discussing the sciences. We love to talk to people that have actual, like, footing in the sciences. But then when it comes down to it, it's just pure emotion. Why do it be like that from the Globe Earthers? I'm literally asking, bro. Like, I want to know. I want you to challenge that argument. There's a lot of people listening and people want to hear your perspective. Huh?
You can believe whatever you want. I'm not here to change your mind.
No, it's not.
We're not into belief here, man. Don't you catch that?
Yeah, the Earth is measured to be.
Oh, what are you into, Mr. Stone?
You have the burden of proof here, so maybe you're not
haven't been paying attention
up to that level yet. But, get with it, man.
All right, but hey, look, if you guys are listening, look, I'm just a guy on the internet, cyborg on the internet, right? Just asking questions, and we got a PhD here, who self-proclaimed PhD, and he's not able to answer the things that they're telling you is the truth. They're telling you that this is what's actually happening. Like, I'm literally like being completely, like, I'm genuinely asking for an answer, and I'm not getting it. So you guys take from that what you will. This is apparently the top levels of science. This is the science community, and this is what we're getting from them when they say, "Yo, you are moving along multiple vectors in a vacuum of flat space, but we can't prove it." At least evidence, right? Because according to science, science doesn't prove things. But direct measurement should. And when we tried to measure this motion, we failed, especially through interferometry. Y'all know, y'all tapping with my guys. We talk about interferometry all the time, detecting motion using waves of light, frequencies, fringe shifts, and things of that nature. And we always get a result that isn't in alignment with a globe Earth going around the sun. So just keep that in mind, y'all. This is what happens. I don't understand it. I never knew I would be in a situation where every single PhD that we talk to can't answer that question. But we gotta believe that we're emotional.
You knew. Oh, yes, you knew.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It's just flat, man. What are you gonna do?
And motionless.
Did I block you? Hey, retard, did I block you on BitChute or something? Did I ban you from the Stone Cold Truth channel? Are you just totally butthurt? Is that the problem?
No, man, I'm your biggest fan. What are you talking about? This is the first time we've ever met.
Oh, he's on a mission, bro.
I see. You're just divinely inspired to get in my face, are you? That's noble. That's noble. Just keep slinging those insults, buddy, with absolutely no knowledge about who I am.
No, it has nothing to do with nobility, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
This
not going to be slinging proof of anything.
I think, like I said, we'll be good friends.
Globies gave this man a whole briefing. All right, this is what you got to do.
Hey, it's funny because this might be like Stone's first like super fan. Like, I got a whole bunch of them. Like, you go to the page, it ain't nothing but sacred posts, misrepresenting sacred. Like,
he's arrived.
Like, damn, I didn't know I have fan pages. Hey, be careful, Stone. This is what happens when you get on Twitter sometimes, man. You're going to find some people that are just going to be on you just like this, bro. I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, I'm getting recognized by the hater echelons. This is great.
You've arrived.
Hey, I don't think it's that deep, bro. I think you should really just focus on the subject matter. I think that you add more value to whatever you're trying to accomplish here. But anyway, let's slide over to C. Hey, I2C, you wanna chime in with anything before we get to Taylor? I know you requested a mic.
I just had a quick comment to make. I just want to let you know I put a thing up in the chat about how weather affects static electricity. And then I had one little quote from it. It says, static electricity and electrostatic discharge are more prevalent in the winter. I just want to point that out. Just saying.
Well,
It could
yeah,
have
you
a
have
correlation. I don't know about the geometric
it's.
shape. I mean, maybe you can give them a circle, you know,
I'm
like a
sorry.
roller
I
shape.
talked so much about how the one was not a causal factor, but the other one the other one would be rather that as air gets colder, you pack it in better, it's denser, and it is easier for an electrostatic charge to find its way to ground through that medium as opposed to hotter, clearer air.
Yeah, I didn't mean to derail the conversation. I saw a post from the final experiment saying that Whitsitt was going on that, and I was kind of wondering if he'd speak on that, if that's what's going on all of a sudden. That's cool. But yeah, he might be asleep at the computer for real. I don't know.
Nah, it is pretty late.
I was talking to this person the other day, and they were trying to convince me that the reason you can't see the bottom of the mountain is because it's on the other side of a curve. Same thing with a boat. And I was calling the curve a hill to make the point that if it's on the other side of a hill of water or whatever, it should be pointing away from you. And you're going to be leaning back, and it's going to be leaning forward because of that physical curvature. And they like drew a cartoon, and in their cartoon there was two, like up was relative to where the person was standing and where the mountain was standing. They're pointing away from each other, whereas in any observation, up is constant all the way across, meaning like the mountain is pointing up just like the same up that you have however many miles away from it you are.
Makes no sense, right?
But they try to say that it would only be
Yeah.
like a 1 degree shift and you wouldn't be able to notice that with the naked eye. I'm like, if it's only a 1 degree shift, then how is there a whole hill of water in the way of that boat? I don't understand why they can't concede the perspective, but I don't know. That's just
Buildings
something that
too.
I just recently went
Yeah.
through, so I'll speak on it.
Well, buildings too, they would point away, and like, so you would see it depending on the conditions. So it's silly. They have no answer for that, and that's why refraction is their new mantra. Like everything outside of distance they don't like refraction. It's just no, it's not going to work. They're just trying to stay ahead of the truth.
Peter, I see you're in here. Do you have an answer that was better than whatever troll I was arguing with in the comments about why something isn't leaning away from you if it's on the other side of physical curvature?
No, I'm not following, but I would love to talk to Mr. Stone about that problem he had with Newtonian equations.
Is this number
Really?
two?
Yeah,
What
it's
did
number
Stone
2.
do?
They is
Hey, Stone.
pressing Stone. You put on some new
You
cologne
know what
today or
I
something,
did?
bro?
No, I know
You
what I
got the
did. I
Stone, I had
featured.
nothing to
I'm
do with
jealous.
this one.
I'm jealous.
What I did was I
Yeah.
featured Peter in my latest video on Einstein because of a little discussion we had a while back about space time. And yeah, he's right front
It
and
was a
center
good
for a
video,
couple
man. Good
seconds.
video.
I'm glad you liked it. That's real good. That's good.
Yo, P, wifey let you out the house this weekend. Let's go. Glow Biscuit in the building. Hey man, sorry you got kicked out the shell head. Shout out to the Glow Gangsters.
Yeah, Globe Gangsters are doing good.
You sure?
Oh yeah, we just had a nice round of trivia. We played some trivia on our Discord with Mactoon. We're doing this trivia globe versus flat Earth. Flat Earth is winning, you guys. They're kicking our butts in trivia.
I thought you said that y'all was doing good. Oh, must have been from the wrong lab frame. My bad. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. You got it.
Yeah. So earlier in this session today, I've heard, I think Mr. Stone and his fellow Piezo, I think his name is, they seemed very confused about the Newtonian equations for gravity and how to reconcile them with laws of motion. I'd like to help them. I'd like to walk them through the steps.
Did you not hear Ken follow up with a similar conclusion? This has all been beaten quite a few times. Did you not catch that? Or were you busy typing a vicious rebuttal elsewhere on Twitter while that was going on?
No, I was playing trivia with McTone.
Brilliant.
Playing with McToon is crazy.
Yeah, but you use that as an argument that the theory of gravity doesn't hold any water, because how can the acceleration be the same for all masses while the force and the acceleration depends on the mass? And you seem genuinely like you use that argument against that drunk guy, like Steamboat guy. You and Piezo were kind of like piling up on him, saying, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense. Can you explain it?" And he couldn't because he was a low quality glober. So here I am to walk you
Oh, we
through
got
it.
a high quality glober now, dude.
Oh yeah,
Is that what we got?
Bro, it's the hierarchy, son.
And gravity
What's the
doesn't
thing?
hold any water.
Hashtag.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm
Get it?
spamming
Get
the
it?
laughing emoji. My
Cold
bad, my
water?
bad, my bad.
Cold water, get it? Get it?
Hashtag high quality glober.
Glober cast system.
That was so hilarious. Oh my god.
Look, Pete talking to his mute. We can't hear you, get it?
He didn't toggle it yet.
here it is.
No, that's just perfect.
So
You know,
hey
it was
Stone,
just perfect.
walk me through that contradiction. Let's see if we can crack it together.
Oh man.
You're not going to get any
Here we
Oscar,
go
man.
Hey, man, give Pete a chance. He might surprise us. He might have an answer. That's what we're here for, right?
I clearly don't need to walk through it again if you think you've got the rebuttal so sharply written in your mind right now. Why don't we just get to that?
No, I would hate to strawman your
Oh
position.
no,
So
I'd rather
present your
posture like an
position.
asshole for 10 minutes. Just get to that.
Yeah,
No, it took you.
much more interesting. No,
It
come
didn't take
on,
you that
Peter,
long
stop.
with the
You did this
drunk guy.
today in Brian's space. Stop the nonsense and get to the point. Seriously, it's late.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually don't really have to
joking.
have him repeat it because I think Piezo put a diagram up here. So I'll just reshare the diagram and then you could respond to that if you want.
Yeah. So my position is that the Newtonian equations perfectly explain why all masses on Earth would accelerate with the same acceleration. So a garbage truck and I don't know, football will accelerate with the same acceleration. That's my position. You claim that this is contradicted by the laws of motion, the F equals ma. I would like for you to substantiate your claim.
Is that all you got?
Yep. That's all it takes, buddy, to expose you.
There is no substantiation
Peter.
required when all I offered you was arithmetic incongruity. There was nothing else required in order to validate what I'm saying. All you have to do is recognize the numbers and the variables for meaning what they mean and understanding the implications of what I've just pointed out about them. There was no other justification required, no deeper explanation. It's a simple arithmetic.
Okay. First of all, it's not arithmetic, it's algebra because it involves symbols and not numbers.
Great. It's a linear relationship. Okay, fine.
No, I didn't say linear. Algebra deals with symbolic operations and arithmetic is with numbers.
That's how we got the letters. I think I realized that. Thanks, Peter.
All right, so walk me through it. Why is the equation of F equals G M1 M2 divided by R squared times uppercase G? Why is that incompatible with F equals MA and the conclusion that all objects should accelerate with the same acceleration? Walk me through it.
Peter.
No. Hold on, Stone. We're not going to do that because this is what you always trying to do yesterday with Alan and Shane. And I like this new tactic, right? You come off like you're genuine and you want to get answers, but you really just want to question, never really address anything. This is what we're going to do. Peter, you steel man Stone's argument. And then Stone will tell you if you have the accurate steel man, and then we'll build from there. Go ahead.
Okay. I I heard Mr. Stone and his friend Piezo say something along the lines of this. The equation for gravitational force says F equals G times M1, M2 divided by R squared. And that suggests that there's a certain force generated by gravity. But then the second law of Newton says F equals ma. So, and there's another m there for the object. So different objects of different masses should definitely fall with different acceleration. That's what I heard them say. They said these two equations are not compatible with the conclusion that all objects fall with the same acceleration, and that's their position. Is that correct?
You're getting there.
Okay. This is absolutely false. This is like high school physics. False. Please walk me through your reasoning why you believe that what you said is true.
It was strictly an apples to apples comparisons of two different masses when we're looking at FMA and the effect being A, the cause hopefully being F, and assuming that the causal force would be the same acting on all bodies because it's a constant.
Okay, so what does the gravitation equation tell us? The F equals G times M1 times M2 divided by R squared. What's the meaning of it? What's the meaning of it?
Let us not go down such a pedestrian road, Peter.
How is this a pedestrian road? This is critical to our conclusion.
I can hear it coming a mile away when I tell you that it's 20 after 4 a.m. my time. And I'm really not.
Feel free to run away.
There it is. See, this is what I just called even before you thought of it. Got that part?
See, I'm faster than you are. I speak faster than you think.
This is how you say, Peter. I called it before you thought of it. Somehow you're faster. This is the cog disc that you walk around with all the time, proudly.
Still thinking this.
Want to do some algebra with me in real time? Want to do some algebra, basic algebra?
Hey, Peter, can I ask a question?
God.
Yes.
Have you ever observed mass attracting mass without the influence of electrostatics?
Absolutely, yes.
What a lie.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about it?
Straight up lie.
Yes, I can. I have myself performed measurements in school of the kind that you can look up on YouTube if you are bothered, that demonstrate that mass attracts mass.
Electrostatically at best, Peter.
And what kind of masses did you use?
Just balls. Like we like balls, so we always use
those
balls.
are shapes, not masses.
Come on, Stone. We gotta get those clips, man. You can't interrupt when he say something crazy. You can't interrupt, Stone. We need those clips, bro. I need that one.
Wait, I think we got that one clearly enough, though.
For the record, I want to point out that the guy said balls are not masses; they're shapes. I want that to be noted for the jury. Yeah.
Is that incorrect? Is that incorrect in any way?
It is incorrect in the context that we're discussing a physical experiment.
No, I asked you what the masses were, and you gave me shapes, you fucking goof.
They were massive balls, if you will.
Yes, and I'm going to ask you for the fourth time. What masses did you use?
I don't remember.
This all sounds so very familiar.
Remember last night? Yo, this is why Stone's like, bro, it's so late for this. I already know I'm getting myself into. I don't even know if I want to engage.
Peter, last night
Cavendish,
exactly the same thing.
The only person I know who measured gravity with two
Eden
balls is
and
Cavendish.
other guy, stop talking over people, please.
Thank
CLW
you,
and
Alan.
Eden, please
I
stop.
appreciate it.
Seriously,
I
Peter
appreciate
did
it,
this
Alan.
exact same thing at the debate last night. He came back with an answer of, I did that mathematical problem when I was in school, and I remember working out that problem, and I sure struggled with it, but I got it right. But I don't know what it and how to solve it now, you said. I couldn't actually do it now, but I know it's totally legit. You can trust me on that one. Peter, your credibility is just shredded, and you do it at every turn. I don't know why you're here.
Stone, it wasn't always like this, Stone. It wasn't always like Pete was a good guy at one point, just a regular average globe earther that came to Flat Earth Fridays. He used to come co-host with us. He used to shout us out. He used to say a lot of nice things, and things just went for
a wild turn, man. It just hasn't been the same since. So you got to give him just a little bit of grace. You know what I'm saying?
The guy just dragged me down this road for 15 minutes at 20 after 4 in the morning, and then he comes up with, I don't remember.
Okay. In the
What the
Jumbo,
hell?
yeah, stop spiraling. In the Jumbo, there's a YouTube video. I ask you to fast forward to 1 minute and 8 seconds. Don't watch the first part. I don't want you to be triggered. Skip the first part. I beg you. 1 minute, 8 seconds shows the kind of experiment that I performed myself at school.
You still haven't told me what masses you use. You can't.
I don't remember. It was 27
there.
years ago.
You were there and did it yourself, and you can't remember
Yes.
what you used.
Well, I was hungover. I was a student, and I had a mean hangover, and my physics lab was at 8 a.m. Can you imagine? What a
You
time to
remember
be
all at
alive.
the time and everything, but you can't remember anything about the experiment itself.
I
Yeah, that makes
remember
sense.
3 experiments I performed. I don't remember their parameters. I apologize. It was 27 years ago, and I was
Humans are
hungover.
just so
But people,
disappointing in that
if you
aspect.
don't remember the parameters of the experiment or demonstration that you were performing, how can you make the claim that you eliminated electrostatics? That seems a bit dishonest.
That was an important part of the experiment.
And the
Oh, you surrounded with styrofoam?
The masses
Tell me
are
that.
not important.
Is this happening now? Tell me that. Did you do that too? Like Sparkane?
Like, were they 1
No,
kilo or they
we
were
just
50,
had to
100?
make sure.
Were they 50,
No, they
100
were
kilos
not.
or
No,
one?
they were kind of small, like in that video. What you see in that
They're
video
kind-
that you're
they're
not
not-
There was
watching.
styrofoam involved in your test.
Peter,
Are you telling me this? Is this happening, guys?
Hell yeah, dude. Everyone
Am I
unmute your
hallucinating?
mic and talk at once.
Thank you, Alan. I'm sure none of you are watching the YouTube video because you're afraid to click it. But if you were to
I
click
just
it,
watched it. I just watched it, Peter. I got a lot to say, honestly. You guys are ballsy as hell using such a small amount of mass and claiming that that is what we're measuring with. And I love how the video cuts. Instead of showing the scale move, it just cuts and all of a sudden it's a different weight on the
Yeah.
scale.
it was
Appreciate that.
made
That's
by the
got to be real.
Jesuits. Yeah, it was made by the Jesuits, so you cannot trust it too
Oh,
much.
they would never lie. They would never lie. That's perfect.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should try and perform such an experiment yourself.
I absolutely will. No problem.
Okay. Well, respect.
I
When you do,
appreciate that method
share it
of
with us.
experiment. That method of experiment, honestly, I appreciate that. That's a good way to go about it.
That's all it
But
takes, buddy.
I'm very, very confident that the scale's not going to move at all. No matter what amount of mass, I could put a car under there. Like whatever I put under it.
Let us know how it goes. So, Mr. Stone, should we go back to our algebraic puzzle?
No.
How can we
shouldn't do
reconcile?
anything, Peter.
And that's why I asked that question.
We're
What
so
is the
wasting
point in getting in? I'm sorry, Stone. What's the point in getting in all this math if we've never even observed mass attracting mass? You want to argue
certainly
equations
have.
in conversation with using letters, and it's like you've never even seen mass attract mass.
My friend, we have certainly observed objects accelerate with 9.8 meters per second squared, regardless of their mass. We have observed that. So,
That goes
Mr.
against.
Stone, well, we have just observed it. Blame the law of nature or something. I don't know.
We've observed
Mr.
things
Stone,
going down. That's not mass attracting
don't
mass.
spiral. Yeah, don't spiral.
Man.
Mr. Stone claimed that this observation is incompatible with Newton's own equations. Isaac Newton must have missed that fact, and I would love for Mr. Stone to walk us through his reasoning so we can debunk Newton's algebraic abilities.
Did you entirely miss everything we talked about with regard to Newtonian math against the solar system?
No, I did, and I even watched your video on BitChute. It was fascinating. So let's walk through some algebra, shall we?
Did you think
Yeah.
it was valid is the question.
No, it was absurd.
I see. Walk us through why you think it's absurd, Peter. Go ahead.
It was gibberish. It was complete
No,
gibberish.
that is just
I wouldn't know where to start.
You wouldn't know, really.
I
But
wouldn't.
it was fascinating, though.
I'm still recovering from that fascination. So let's do
I
some
see.
algebra together. Let's see if we can substantiate your claim that Newton's own equations are incompatible with the observation that all objects accelerate with the same
It's actually
acceleration
really
value.
weird, Peter, that you're so mentally broken and you've forgotten that Piso was the one who brought this point up. I was merely
Oh, you did as
reiterating
well. No, you doubled down on
No.
it.
See,
tag team. You tag
that's you
team.
playing Parcheesi with Trunsky and not actually paying attention to the order of events that took
Hey,
place.
I know your sweet voice, buddy. I can tell one maniac from another. And
Yo, what is it about Stone
came out
voice
wrong,
that
man.
got y'all hot and bothered? Yo,
Your
I ain't
voice.
never
Sweet voice.
seen men come up here and be so like out of body over somebody. Well, I mean, it happened to me sometimes with y'all anti-flat earthers, so I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, they love
Yo,
Earth
Sacred
Dubai,
got the
though.
best
They
voice
love
ever.
Earth
Like,
Dubai.
what is it with y'all, bro? That shit is crazy. Go ahead, man. Keep going.
You're confused
Well,
by the voice. It's the logical content.
Sometimes globe gangsters need to roll in to save the day, and this is what's happening right now. So, Mr. Stone, let's do
The
some
last time you was up here, you got cooked.
proof?
Pete. Stop
You
it,
got
gang.
proof?
Stop
You got
it.
proof? Are you serious?
Let's do some algebra, okay?
No, it's not okay,
Let's go.
Peter.
You can
Walk
describe
me through
anything
your
with math.
reasoning.
You can describe anything with math. You can't prove anything. So,
Okay, Mr. Stone, what is the third law of motion
Here
by
it is again,
Mr.
Peter.
Newton?
Here it is
Remind us.
again, Peter. Here it is again. It's just more irrelevance, more.
Well, I'm going to help you. I'm going
more
to walk us collectively.
grandstanding, like you don't have it already written down. It's hilarious.
Oh, I don't. It's all in my head right now.
Oh, okay,
We're going to
let's
walk
get it out of
through.
your head instead of asking me for it.
Okay,
Go ahead.
fair enough. Fair
Go
enough.
where you want to go with your point. Make one instead
Okay.
of asking me.
Fantastic. For the audience, can you steelman the third law of motion by Isaac Newton, please?
For Christ's sake, Peter. No, we're not going to go through that. We're not going to go.
Well, I
through
just
that.
steelmaned
Your
your
space right
position.
there.
And Mr. Host, Mr. Crypto Keys, I believe it would be fair for Mr. Stone to steelman the third law of motion.
Stone, if you feel like that you want to engage with Pete, it would be fair for you to steal man. I don't know if it's relevant to the conversation.
It is.
But it is fair that he did steal man. So man, I don't know if you want to engage, but if you do, then you should steal man.
And if not, I got a question. I was wondering, Peter, could
Maybe
you
you could
separate?
wait. Maybe you could wait until he does the steelmanning.
Yeah, you're talking about exchange of force, one object to the next, action and reaction force pairs. You see, and that's why that doesn't even apply to what we're talking about here.
Yes, it does. What is that?
No, it does not.
I will help
It's
you.
sad
I'm
that
here
you
to
can't
help.
see that.
I'm here to help.
It's really tragic that you can't see that.
Could you state
but
that
it's
law
not
briefly for
relevant.
us, please?
Hold on, Pete. You asked him to do something. You can't just sit up here and start censoring because you feel like he's pressing you now. You gotta go on mute.
I love it.
You gotta go on mute until he passes you the mic back. That's what you gotta do. So go ahead. Mute up, Pete. Pete, mute up. Go ahead, Stone.
Newton's third law has much to do with inertial force calculation between two bodies, one acting to the next. It's all implied about the velocity of the first object in an elastic or an inelastic collision. Take your pick. It's the stuff I studied in, grade 11 back in the late 80s, whatever. Yeah, mid 80s, early mid, whatever. Guys, it's an irrelevant point. And it's tragic that Peter doesn't understand this, that we're not talking about one body's inertia being transferred into the other. We're talking about Newtonian mechanics and this, again, attractive force, this assertion they're making about mass attracting mass. Yet he tells us that he's done this experiment in high school where he had, just like this archaic video he just posted the link to at 1 minute and 8 seconds so you wouldn't get triggered by anything else, to notice that the masses they're using are tremendously minuscule. And again, this is something that Pizzo actually covered when we talked about Cavendish when Steamboat was on, that the masses that they're using, even at 1500 keys or 150 keys, which was where Cavendish was at with this larger mass, that if you're going to talk about Newtonian attraction, you cannot discount the other bodies in the system that you can't isolate, because none of these people have been able to isolate the gravitic force in terms of mass attracts mass influence, that Jupiter had an influence and the moon had an influence on the Cavendish experiment, and none of it is accounted for. And you can see that it isn't because he doesn't write about it at all. And this is how you know that the entire experiment that he performed was bogus. Secondly, again, if it's something that he did in high school with masses the size of your fist or your head or a VW bug, it begs to be asked. And that is the question. Again, I'm going to ask it again because they seem to be completely in denial about the answer. Why don't people, parks like Disneyland, Disney World, any other place, Ripley's, believe it or not, McDonald's, why don't they have their own Cavendish experiments set up demonstrating mass attracting mass? Nowhere do you see it. Nowhere. And this is the reason, is because it's a lie. And no dragging my ass down algebra lane is going to change any of that.
So this guy talked for like 10 minutes and he said nothing.
Hey, retard, shut up.
Stone,
I
you
think
finished?
it's my turn. I think it's my turn.
I don't know. Stone, you finished?
Yeah, it's 4:34 my time, but if he thinks he has something of value to add right now, I don't anticipate much, but let's give him the benefit of that tremendous amount of doubt.
Here's your chance, Pete. Here's your chance. Your golden moment.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity. This was the strangest explanation of the third law of Newton's. It involved Disneyland and Jupiter. But he did say something roughly approximating this problem at the beginning. We can formulate that law as when an object acts on another with a certain force, the other object acts on the first object with an equal and opposite force. In that context, Mr. Stone, what is the meaning of the equation F equals G times M1 times M2 divided by R squared? What is the physical meaning of that?
They are physically irrelevant to each other. And this is what I was starting with at the beginning, that again, you seem unable to comprehend. And it's tragic.
And you
So
just
your answer to
equated
my question,
Jupiter
can you stop?
with
Your mic, stop,
Disneyland.
please.
Gilly, relax.
Stop. So your answer to my question, what is the physical meaning of that equation? Is there irrelevant? Is that your answer?
Yes, because one set of equation has to do with a scenario where one body is acting on the other in terms of an inertial transfer. Again, I will cite either an elastic or an inelastic collision. And if you had studied it, you would understand the significance of those terms. And
We're
how
not discussing collisions.
Oh man, and how the physics get a little more complicated when you talk about how they might bounce off each other.
We
and
are
one
not
might go
discussing
faster.
collisions.
The other side of it is the Newtonian attraction formula, which we've been beating along, and I've been decimating all night. Again, you seem to be completely uncognizant of how I have quantifiably demolished Newtonian mass attracts mass on the solar system scale. And again, tragic that you just can't see it. You seem to think that all of that mathematics are an absurdity. Again, 4:30 my time. We see that Peter has nothing else to add. I think I'm pretty much done here for the night, guys. It's been a slice. And yes, I'm running away, Peter. Put that on your dresser and show that off to your friends. But yeah, it's been fun, Sacred, and it's neat that I've picked up such hardcore, loud ass haters like this. It's kind of neat.
I'd like
Hey
to say
man,
one last,
there's
if I can, if I may.
There's a term that goes around. If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping.
Hashtag anti-FE groupie.
Can I ask one
my
question?
last, no, can I, wait.
Peter.
My last message to you, Mr. Stone, is for those about to die, we salute you.
What a weird thing to say.
Womp, 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 womp.
You're about to lose your account on TOS grounds, buddy. Watch the where you walk. All right? Can you hear me?
I have one question on the electrostatic gravity thing, because I think it's sort of genius in a way. But I was just curious when the Royal Society patched gravity so things don't fall faster in the morning than they do in the evening. Did that happen around when they did the geodetic survey and came up with the Graddies and the Zennies?
Yo, this guy, it's so funny because the globe earthers like literally think that it works like gravity. Like, oh, this thing that's gotta be the only thing causing it. It's like, bro, there's multiple things affecting the observation, right? If it's less dense than its surroundings, if it's more dense, you're gonna get different observations. Anyway, yo, shout out to Stone, man. Appreciate you. He actually overstayed. He usually jumps out of here like around 2:30 his time. So I'm actually surprised that he stayed that long. But yeah, shout out man to Stone. Y'all know where to find him, and he'll be back over here next Friday. Y'all know where to catch him.
So I don't think anybody knows when the Royal Society patching happened. That's unfortunate.
Okay. 1 second more. I think Oz want to say something, and then we'll slide over to you in just a second.
All right, thanks.
Go ahead, Oz.
Yeah, I was just wondering if Peter would concede that we've seen things fall down, but we've never seen mass attracting mass outside of your video that you just shared.
Outside of my video and me having done a similar experiment 27 years ago.
Do you think that something could be true mathematically, but not like observable in the real world just because the math works out?
No, I don't, because I've observed it personally.
That's not what he asked.
He asked if I think that something is true physically only because of the math, and my answer is
No,
no.
the other way around. Because one thing I learned during COVID is that you can make numbers. That doesn't mean that the reality matches the numbers that being presented.
Well, I performed an experiment that matched the numbers, so the other way around. So that's why I know it's true.
What was holding up the balls?
My scrotum.
Bro, this is why we say globe, Earth, and space is fake and gay, because they appeal to that. Like, and it's okay. Like, we don't shame them for being like that. It's just
It always comes down to
because
like you got to be willing to do an experiment, and you got to be willing to actually make observations, which I've done at this point. So I don't even need to do the little hanging weight, but I will do it just so that I'm not a liar when I say it's bullshit, because I know it's bullshit.
I salute you.
They always have the strings holding up the balls, and poor Cavendish had to exit the experimentation or lab that he was in because he thought his own gravitational field would mess with the experiment. So do we have a gravitational field? Are we Uri
Yes, we
Geller?
do. Yes, we do.
Okay. So you're
I was
Uri
going to
Geller.
explain this. Yes, I would. I was going to explain this with Mr. Stone, but he ran away.
No, he didn't run away. He just didn't want to talk to you anymore because you're so, dishonest, intellectually
Yeah,
dishonest.
he couldn't handle the algebra of high school physics. Yeah, I know.
How come
It happens.
What was holding up the balls in your 27-year-old experiment? Were
A
they
spring.
strings?
A spring. Yeah.
A spring. Okay. What's the spring?
It's a scale spring. A spring scale. Sorry. Like in the video that you didn't watch that I posted. Exactly like in the video that you didn't see. That's exactly what I did.
How does that relate to the cosmic vacuum?
It does not. It had nothing to do with the cosmic vacuum.
So what is this experiment proving to you?
That the presence of mass increases the acceleration experienced by the other object.
How come there's nothing on Earth big enough that we could go to and stick shit to it? Because it's so big, it's got so much mass. You just walk up to it and stick smaller masses to it. But
That's exactly what that experiment is. That's exactly what it is, and it's shown on the video that you have not
No,
watched.
that experiment is manipulating our observations of things falling down, and it's trying to say it's falling down more now because there's mass under it, which
That's
is
right.
a lot.
Yes.
And that's why the video is cropped the way it is, and you don't like visually watch the scale adjust. You just go back to a different scale all of a sudden.
Yeah.
A different
Well,
weight on the scale.
I performed that experiment myself, and I testified to the fact that it's real.
Hey, Peter, why don't you describe to everyone listening, because they may not know, just what your definition of mass is so people can follow along and don't get the wrong impressions.
Mass, trivially, could be defined as the amount of matter, but more precisely, I would define it as an intrinsic property of nature, equivalent to what we know as electric charge, but not expressed in terms of electricity, but in terms of something else, which we call mass. Its origin is not known. Similarly, the origin of electric charge is not known. We just observe and quantify these properties in nature. Thank you.
Cool. No, that was good. So, guys, he's not, talking about just matter. He's talking about a different thing in his definition, an intrinsic property, as he put it, of nature. Maybe if you guys are interested, you can ask him a little bit more about what he wants to say that is. But yeah, two different things. There's a conception of both, so we got to be on the same page.
Yeah, the trivial definition for the purpose of this discussion is the amount of matter. That's good enough to walk through Newtonian mechanics.
Real quick, Taylor's waving. She's trying to be pulled up, Sacred Alan. I don't know if there's a spot open.
Oh, I think I just gave it to
I'll drop down, guys. I'll drop down.
Thanks.
There should be a spot since Mr. Stone ran away, so he freed up a spot, I think.
He's not even here, and they still on him.
He can't get his head around it. Like, I don't know.
It's been so long since Pete hosted a space, he probably can't count that.
That'll be the story tomorrow, D.
There is no spot available. He's talking about algebra and he's messing up on arithmetic. But it's all right. It's all good. It's okay.
Algebra freaks me out too, so I would have run away too. If, let's say, Mordwend asked me about some advanced algebra, I would run away too.
That'll be your story. Cool story.
That is my story.
Have you guys ever heard the definitions of Ken Wheeler related to mass?
I have. I like his stuff. I think he's onto something.
So would you agree with his definition that all matter and atoms are compounded ether condensates or ultra-high energy light compounds? To which I would only add that there's a special particle mediating that particular interaction.
I think there may be some truth to it. However, my concept of particles is a little, I don't know if, there's different concepts of, I guess, what particles are. Some people have like an idea of like just a small spherical object, a densely compacted thing, something like what you're just saying. I think it may be something like that, like a densely compact or energetic area point.
Yeah.
But I don't think it takes it. I don't think it's separate from everything else. I think it would maybe if it's a dense area, it's still a part of a wave or a medium. So that's kind of like how I look at it. I don't separate it from everything else. I think it's like a point that's part of the fabric.
So would you accept that there's some wave perhaps or some disturbance, let's say, in the ether field, and that kind of disturbance it resonates in a way, and that's what creates mass, what we call mass.
that's kind of my understanding of it. Yeah.
What if I told you that thing is called the Higgs boson and we've discovered it?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into. I know that Higgs boson was called like the God particle or whatever. I don't know much about the Higgs boson, so I just think we can name things, and give them attributes, but at the end of the day, we can't treat it as separate. That's my thing. I don't think there's any truth to it being a separate thing. Yeah, but I wouldn't say no to that. I haven't looked into it, so.
Can I ask Peter a question before we get too off topic of his experiment?
Yeah.
He said he did an experiment to show gravity.
You're good. Go ahead.
Like, he said he did an experiment to show gravity, and I was trying to come up here and ask him, like, what was your independent and dependent variable? What was your control? And what was your p-value if you really ran an experiment?
Thank you. The experiment looked like what I posted in the Jumbo, which I'm sure you haven't seen yet. And the independent variable was the amount of mass present underneath the object. The object was hanging on the scales, spring scales. And initially, there was no additional mass below it, meaning just the Earth and the table and whatnot. And the instrument would show the acceleration of the object, which was roughly 9.8 meters per second squared. And The independent variable was introducing more mass in that area. So moving a massive object from somewhere else in the room underneath the test object. And then the instrument would show a greater acceleration than the original one. So that's the
Yeah.
dependent variable, is the amount of acceleration.
And what was your control?
Can I ask? Can I
Wait.
just
Let
ask?
me ask him.
Sorry.
Hold on. Just let Tilly finish her interjection. Go ahead, Tilly.
Elon.
The control
Elon,
variable was making sure that the objects were grounded and that they had no measurable electric charge when tested.
No, a control would be something like if you repeated it, but with balls that had like much less mass to them, or like hollow, for example, because you could have those effects just by electrostatic, effects. Sometimes pulling things together or making things. Yeah.
Yes.
So
we had to isolate. We had to isolate the ground the objects. We only had one test object. Unfortunately, it was a post-communist country, low budget situation, and this was not a scientific experiment. This was just students doing work in the lab just to pass the lab. So all we had to do was perform the measurement several times, document the results, and compare them to the predictions from theory.
Yeah.
And of course, there was some error margin. There was an
Yeah.
error margin. We had to write up some BS about why we think there's an error, maybe the instrument error, yada, 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 yada. We had to, in our report, we had to write what the precision of the instrument was, which was documented on the label, on the sticker, on the instrument. And then we said, okay, our conclusions are we're within that number of the prediction from theory.
Do you remember your p-value?
I do not.
Under 0.5. But let me just ask. So you repeated this experiment multiple times, right? You didn't
5
have a
times.
control. Okay, I got you. And did you do the calculations to see how much gravity you should have between these two different masses?
Yes.
Did you post those calculations?
Post?
Yeah, like did you share them so that people can check your math that that's what should happen?
Yeah, we had to write the report and then submit it to the mean professor who looked at them and said, okay.
Yeah, you should share that. That's really
From
all that matters,
27
right?
years, from 27 years ago, you want me to share a piece of paper that was discarded by the professor? I'm sorry, I don't have it.
That's your, but it's not what you're proposing is that you've done an experiment. You got to.
I'm not proposing anything. I'm telling you my story. I don't give a shit whether you believe it or not. Or
Taylor,
Okay, I just want to see it.
I'd love
Well,
to
you
highlight
cannot
how
see it.
stupid this experiment is. I could, honestly, if you say that something underneath of the object, this is your claim, something underneath of the object that's hanging from a scale makes it, whatever's hanging from the scale all of a sudden is 1/1000th heavier because it has more mass pulling it down. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct, yes.
Okay, so why can't you put that object, that the mass that's underneath of the scale, why can't you put it above the object hanging from the
You
scale
could.
and it becomes 1/1000th lighter?
Those
You
look
could.
magnetic to me, though.
You could.
Those metal balls that you have there?
Yes, I believe
How do you
they're
know they
lead.
didn't have magnetic attraction?
Is lead magnetic?
I'm just wondering. I don't know what they're made of because you won't show the report, but
I certainly won't show you the report. I can guarantee you that I won't show it to you.
Peter, can I ask a
how do we
question?
know you didn't just use magnets?
You don't know.
The science is trust me, bruh.
I have a question about the magnetic thing, though. Would you believe that a chicken finger and a turkey can attract each other magnetically or electrostatically?
Is that like a turkey Twizzler?
For the record,
like a big old turkey and a little baby chicken finger. Would there
For
be
the
an
record-
electrostatic or electromagnetic interaction between those two objects?
For the record, I did not use any of those materials in my experiment.
Do you have a mass spec analysis of those balls there to tell us that they're not
Are you
magnetic?
sure? You sure you might have missed or forgotten? Maybe you did use those.
No, we didn't
Seems
have
that
those in post-communist Poland. They were considered capitalist abominations.
How did you eliminate
Yeah, I
all
don't know why
electros?
anybody's
How did you
asking for
eliminate?
stuff from 27 years ago. Like,
How did you
that's not
eliminate
happening.
all
So
electrostatics? That's the question.
We had to ground the objects.
Yeah, but that doesn't eliminate all electrostatics. That's admitted to on your side.
It does not. You're correct.
Yeah, and electrostatics are so much more powerful than gravity. The fact that you couldn't eliminate all of them means that electrostatics would outdo the power of any gravity, most likely. So
if that were true, then your head would be hitting the table right now due to electrostatic attraction. But because your head and the table have roughly neutral charge, you're safe.
No, it's not that. It's just more
hey,
powerful
real
than
quick,
gravity.
apologies. I can't hear anyone.
Right.
I'm gonna drop.
Gravity's the weakest, right? It's not that much more powerful, but it's definitely more powerful than gravity, and you can't eliminate it. So it's all bunk from there
Why
on.
didn't you show the scale live time? Like, I'm watching a video and like
I said
you
that
just show
too.
the scale after. Like, you should show
They
it real
cut it.
time
They cut
changing.
to it.
Well, if I made the video, I would make it differently, but I didn't.
Well, I thought you brought some proof now. All I'm looking at is a video of somebody with a ball.
I'm not bringing any proof. I'm just providing answers to your questions. You should consider, instead of sitting here on Twitter, performing that experiment yourself. If you're
I'm
genuinely
doing my own
curious.
experiments right now. I'm analyzing data. It's taking forever.
Okay, good for you. If you're
And
genuinely
I'll show
curious.
you my data.
If I may, Peter, you're making a claim.
I'm not
based
making
on,
a claim.
No, you are. You were making an
I'm
assertion,
not.
making a claim.
No, I'm only answering
from
questions.
an experiment performed 27 years ago.
Yes.
That you can't remember what the exact details were. It's all a bit fucking hazy.
Yeah.
And yet you're making this assertion. He who makes the claim has to back it up. It's not if I said,
I agree.
I don't know, sacred, you shot me.
Could you speak faster?
For me. It's not for the guy that's trying to defend himself to prove that they didn't do it. It's for the person that is making the claim to back up the claim they're making. Yes.
Yes. Can you reach your conclusion before you get a seizure?
You're doing my fucking loafing.
Okay.
You're just going round and round in circles, and all it is just Stone. He's 4 hours behind me. It's 9 o'clock in the morning here, and you haven't you're just waxing lyrical. Either you're asking me to make my point. My point is,
what is it?
You have no fucking point. You just
That's your point.
Being a pain in the
is
ass.
That I don't have a point.
He just doesn't have a
You
paper.
can't.
Okay. Yeah, are you done? I think you're done.
Okay, right. Let me ask you a question.
You're getting there.
You're almost there. Put a ball bearing on a table. Okay.
Yeah.
And you claim the effect of gravity is holding it on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
No, there's way more going on. There's way more going on.
Okay.
There.
Oh, sorry. I forgot about algorithms and algebra and geometry.
Well, you should ask, for example, why the ball bearing doesn't fall through the table. You should ask that first.
Why can a horseshoe magnet? Why does that have more effect than gravity?
It's a very strong interaction. Electromagnetic interaction is orders of magnitude, I believe, 32 orders of magnitude stronger than gravity.
So what's the inverse of gravity? Everything has an equal and opposite. Would you agree?
No, gravity doesn't.
Why? Why is that?
It's a law of nature.
Doesn't dark energy, isn't that going against gravity while the galaxies are moving apart?
Well,
I don't think so.
Victor Schauberger's repulsing, that didn't have the
What are you
inverse of
talking
gravity.
about? What are you talking about right now? You've been going on for ages, and you haven't made the point. You're just like, what is this?
Are
like
you
trivia
fucking
time?
pulling
You're
my
gonna share with
plonker?
us like random pieces of knowledge that you have. You're gonna present them to us. What's next? World War II? Maybe you should stop. So I was asked by a bunch of people. Yeah, we should.
Shall we
I
go
was
to
asked by
Auschwitz and
some people.
the role
Some
that the
people
Poles played?
asked me.
Go ahead, Mishka. You could finish speaking, and then when you're done, we'll pass the mic.
I'm going to bed. I've lost the fucking will to live. I'd rather nail my testicles to the mast of a sinking ship than listen to this bellend. He's a fucking lunatic. I had
choice.
genuine questions. Oh, I had genuine questions because I'm inclined to believe in whether it's a planet, heliocentric, or a plane. There's so much that doesn't add up. Yet Peter fucking Piotr from Gdansk seems to be on a fucking mission to just queer the pitch and piss down the well. So no one else gets an opportunity to have a meaningful conversation and actually ask questions of people that might be more knowledgeable than myself. And I'm kind of not very amused. I didn't get the opportunity to pose a few things to Stone because he actually seems like he actually knows a few things.
Yeah, he ran away.
I'm not surprised. You fucking annoyed the cunt out of him.
But Mr. Piezo is here, and he discussed the algebra of Newtonian equations, so I could pick it up with him. How about that? Mr. Piezo, would you like to substantiate your claim that the Newtonian equation for gravity cannot be reconciled with the second law of motion and the observable fact that all objects, regardless of mass, accelerate with the same acceleration on Earth?
Well, how about this picture up here in the Jumbotron that I made in Paint?
Oh, so how about something else than what I just asked?
No. It's using the equation you're talking about.
Oh, is it? Let's have a look-see. Forces.
Was it a finger painting?
Well, I wanted to do algebra with you, not arithmetic. So let's do some algebra. No numbers required. Let's walk the audience through the thinking that you and Mr. Stone presented earlier tonight, which put Newtonian equations under a question mark when it comes to their consistency with the observed reality of all objects, regardless of mass, accelerating with the same acceleration. Let's do that, shall we?
It derives to this equation in this picture, which is why. So let's just go to this picture because the MA equals
No, it doesn't.
squared.
It doesn't. It has nothing to do with the sun.
What? That F equals GM over R squared is not real?
That's not what we're discussing. We're discussing acceleration on Earth, close to the surface. Why do objects of different masses accelerate with the same value?
Wait, bro. Are you going to use this equation or not in what you're
that
about
equation?
To say?
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm correct. It's going to go to here. So why don't we just go here now instead of spending an extra 30 minutes to get here like you like to waste so much time and you're very inefficient in all your explanations.
So from this whole picture, we're ignoring everything there. We're just looking at F equals GMM divided by R squared, yes?
That's how you calculate the gravitational force between two bodies.
Yes. And what is the meaning of that equation?
It's the force that the bodies impose upon one another.
Okay, good. So little m attracts the large m with force F, and the large m attracts the little m with the force F as well, yes?
Yep.
Okay. Now, can you walk me through your thinking why you suggested that this cannot be reconciled with F equals ma to arrive at the conclusion that objects accelerate regardless of their mass on Earth?
Well, in F equals ma, you have a force causing an acceleration. And for every force except gravity, you have the force being the cause. So the force is a constant. Then you have mass, and you get a resultant acceleration. That's how it works for every force except for gravity that I can impose on an object. But then for gravity, the force is not a constant. It's the variable. The acceleration is the constant, which shows that the acceleration is not the cause. But if we were to assume it was and break it down with math, how would you solve for it? Well, you would set MA equals to GMM over R squared, like here. And so here's another case example where it's like, let's see if that holds true. Let's look at something like the Sun, Moon, Earth system.
No. Wait. No. So what happens when you substitute MA for F in this equation?
You get the little m's canceling out.
Yes, which means A equals?
You get A being only dependent upon the mass of the larger object, which is why the paradigm of Newton claims that acceleration is constant on Earth based on this, because they cancel the masses out.
And what happens when you substitute F equals large M times A?
Well, you
would because the force works in both directions, right?
You would, sure, but we don't have an acceleration measurement.
Can you answer my question? What happens when you substitute uppercase M and A?
If you substitute uppercase M, you still need to measure the F or the A, and we can't do either of those.
No, what? Can you answer my question? What happens
I'm
in the
answering your
equation?
question.
So what cancels out?
I think the point.
Your causal claim.
Can you,
Peter,
just wait.
You cancel out your causal claim.
No.
You cancel out your mass.
What happens? What cancels
The
out,
point.
Mr.
The
Piezo?
point you're missing is if you can't
Hold on, Mishka.
measure
Hold on, Mishka. Go ahead, Piezo.
If you were to put a big M on the left, then
Mhm.
it would cancel out the big M's, and you just have a little M.
Okay, which tells us that an object accelerates towards the Earth with certain value A that's completely dependent on the mass of the Earth, and the Earth accelerates towards the small object with a different acceleration that depends on the mass of the small object.
Which is useless because you can't measure that.
Yes, because it's super small, it's almost zero. Since there's a huge discrepancy between the mass of the Earth and the object. That's why my attraction onto the Earth with the same force that the Earth attracts me, it means nothing to the Earth. The acceleration is almost zero.
So
We can't
okay,
measure
So if you can't measure it,
we have just shown that. Let me just one more sentence. We have just shown that Newtonian equations are perfectly consistent with one another, and they predict that objects of different mass will fall with the same acceleration that is purely dependent on the mass of the large body, such as Earth or the Moon or Mars. Thank you. You actually did successfully perform the task that Mr. Stone ran away from.
All right.
Congratulations.
So, Peter, you still haven't established that bigger mass is the independent cause of the acceleration, which is why you need to step outside of that simple calculation we just did and say, hey, if that's true, it has to hold true everywhere in every case all the time. Otherwise, it can't be true. So that's why I made this picture, to give a different example. So in this picture, you've got the moon orbiting the Earth at the exact moment that the moon is on the inside, where it's closer to the sun, right there. This is at the moment where the moon in reality is said to begin going back towards the Earth in the other direction, okay?
Yeah.
At this moment, why would the moon ever go back away from the sun? It's going towards, when it's on the other side, it goes towards the sun, which makes perfect sense. But at this point, it begins going the other way, even though the sun's gravitational force is twice as strong as the Earth. So how is the Earth able to overpower the sun and pull it back?
I understand. I will answer your question in 2 steps. Why is the Earth not falling onto the sun? Into the sun?
Because it's stationary.
Oh, okay, yes.
Wait, that's a
good answer.
question. You said you'll give an answer. Just give the answer, bro.
No, I want to actually Piezo's engaging.
This is all they do, bro. They did the same thing in the
No, I
debate.
will answer. Just say I don't know, and then I will answer.
Present a case, and then they'll be like, okay, well, let me ask you questions the entire time instead of answering yours.
Piezo, this is not a debate. I'm actually respecting you right now because you're engaging.
You can't have a debate just by asking questions the whole time, bro. That's
sure,
what
but I mean,
do over there.
It's a Socratic.
It's been 5 minutes, dog. I literally said before they started, you waste so much time.
Okay, do you want me to just walk you through it? I'll walk you through it. Okay. The Earth, step 1, the Earth doesn't fall into the sun because it's orbiting the sun. It has a certain velocity that maintains its orbit, and this is the only reason why it's not falling into the sun. If the Earth were to stop, if it were to lose its velocity, then it would fall into the sun. The moon also orbits the sun. The moon orbits the sun with the same velocity relative to the sun as the Earth, as you can clearly see every day when you look at the sky. The moon follows the Earth, so it's orbiting the sun and it's staying in the same orbit, and its movement around the Earth is just local movement around the Earth due to its local gravity. But if it were lagging behind, if it were not maintaining the same velocity in the sun orbit, it would definitely fall into the sun. So the answer for the moon, for your question, is the same answer as why doesn't the Earth fall into the sun?
That's
because
not
they have an orbital velocity.
My question had nothing to do about why doesn't the Earth fall into the sun. I said, why does the moon begin to move away from the sun after moving towards it? Because the fact is, in your paradigm, when it's on the far side, if I had drawn the moon on the right of the Earth, as that Earth moves around, the moon will orbit around the Earth and get closer to the sun. But then, once again, what my question was, which you still didn't answer, why does the moon pull away? You just said there is a...
Because it has momentum.
Wait, you just said that there is a local effect of momentum. In what direction? The momentum is moving
in the orbit around the Earth.
Hold on. How can momentum cause a change in direction circularly? It's not like there's a string attached to the Earth and you're spinning it around like a yo-yo, dude.
Well, the moon is within the gravitational well of the Earth, and it has a momentum on the orbit. That's why it stays on the orbit, the same way that the Earth stays in the sun's orbit.
So let's say that moon is circling that Earth in that picture counterclockwise. At the exact moment that this is snapped, the moon's velocity vector would be in the down arrow. Okay, it'd be in the down direction if attached to this paper. I could draw an arrow down. Okay. So. Okay, that's because that's the way it's moving. It just came from the top. It swung around to the left, and it's on the left now. It's going down, and it's going down. And it's about to swing back around the Earth, right?
Yeah.
So why, if at this moment the moon was just released magically, if you snapped your fingers and let go of the moon, it would fly down. Okay. So how can it swing back around to the right? Because let's say that the Earth continues to go around the sun. The Earth goes up. Okay. Why will the moon follow the Earth more than the sun when the sun's gravity is over twice as strong?
Well, that's my point. It's not following the Earth more than the sun. It's actually following the sun more than the Earth. That's why it's orbiting the sun together with the Earth.
Is the moon No, the moon's orbiting the Earth, dog. The Earth is orbiting the sun, and the moon is
not
orbiting
really.
the Earth.
No. The moon is not orbiting the Earth more than you are orbiting the Earth. We are together orbiting the sun. The moon is roughly in the same orbit as the Earth in relation to the sun, off by whatever, 400,000 kilometers, which is nothing. And it's maintaining that speed in relation to the sun. And on top of that, it's orbiting the Earth. Two things can be happening at once.
Why is it getting further away from the sun after being closer? You said it's conserving momentum. Well, the momentum is not in the away direction. The momentum is in the towards the sun direction.
Because it is within the gravitational well of the Earth, which itself is within the gravitational well of the sun.
And
Bro, you double dutching between Newtonian and Einstein. You don't talk about no gravitational well, gang. What you talking about?
Because we're keeping it simple.
The gravitational well of the Earth, even in that setup, is weaker. It's less than half the strength of the sun. So
of course.
So if you calculate them and add them together and you get a net force, the net force is towards the sun, not towards the Earth. So why does it move in the opposite direction of the net force?
Because it has a momentum. If it was standing still, it would fall onto the sun.
The momentum is towards the sun. It's not away from it. Why does it move away?
Because it's within the gravitational well of the Earth.
You're just going in a circle. Literally, I'm telling you.
Because
that part
you have to be able to.
It's a geodesic circle. It's a geodesic.
I'm like, I'm saying A doesn't work. So answer B, and then you say, well, B is because of A, and I say, no, A doesn't work. So answer B, and you say, well, it's because B because A. You're literally going in a circle, dude.
Piezo, in nature,
if I may,
more than one force can act on an object, and objects can be in multiple relationships. I know this sounds weird, at the same time.
And
Piezo,
at this moment,
please.
Hold on one second, Mishka. Hold on, because we do got a couple hands, and I want to get to them after this build. I'll get back to you in just a second. Go ahead, Piezo.
That's why I picked this exact moment in time, because at this exact moment, the gravity pulls of the Earth and the Sun are along one axis. The Sun is to the left, and the Earth is to the right. And at this very moment, when it's all aligned on one axis, the Moon moves to the right. It doesn't move to the left. It doesn't make any sense.
Remind me, what is your favorite number, that satanic number that describes the linear velocity of Earth in the Sun's orbit?
Bro, I haven't given you any favorite number. Answer my question. Why are you diverting again? It's like your profession.
Because the Earth is moving in the orbit, and the Moon is also moving in the same orbit, and on top of that, it is running around the Earth.
Bro,
you do understand
still
that for the Moon,
the specifics of my question.
I'm trying
You're
to explain
trying to
this.
answer a question that's not my question. Answer my question, please.
I am answering your question. The Moon is orbiting the Sun with a certain velocity that keeps the orbit. Yes or no? The Earth. I'm sorry. The Earth is orbiting the Sun with a certain velocity that maintains the orbit. Yes or no?
Continue, bro.
Yes or no?
Bro, you still haven't answered my question. We're on my question. This is what you do.
Okay.
You try to divert with questions.
I'm going to assume you answered yes. Is the Moon following the Earth?
In your model, it is.
In that orbit. Okay. So that tells you that the Moon and the Earth are together maintaining a certain velocity in relation to the Sun that maintains their orbit.
Do you understand my question is a why? My question is not a what.
Yes, I understand your question. You're confused with how vectors work.
No, you're replying to my why question and trying to change it into a what. I didn't ask a what. We're agreeing upon what the what is in your model. I'm asking you the why, because the why doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I'll try again. The Moon doesn't fall onto the Sun in your picture because the Moon has a velocity that counters the Sun's pull in Newtonian terms.
And its velocity is in what direction at this moment? Down, right? We already went in the circle.
No, that's just one vector of its velocity. The fact that it's circulating the Earth is one thing. At the same time, they're together blasting through space, trying not to fall into the Sun together.
At this moment, all three bodies are in a straight line. That cancels out.
Yes, they are.
Okay, that cancels out the y-axis.
No, it doesn't.
Hold, dude.
Jesus Christ.
The motion of the Moon at this point is pointing down. Okay, that means that the influence
in relation to the Earth.
It's in relation to the picture, the frame of the picture, everything in the system.
Yes, but you're not showing that they're both blasting through space in the Sun's orbit. You're not showing that.
I'm calculating this at a point in time. I'm not calculating this in a video.
That's an incorrect calculation. That's an incorrect calculation.
It's an incorrect calculation. What do you mean?
Yes.
Are you telling me that? Hold on, wait, bro. Let me talk. Are you trying to tell me that I am not allowed, in reality, to calculate the motion of bodies at a point in time? I'm not allowed to calculate the forces at a point in time. I'm not allowed to say at time t equals x, t equals 1 second, I'm not allowed to calculate a force?
You are allowed, yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. So at time t
where's
equals
the
whatever
centrifugal force? Where's the centrifugal force resulting from the orbit around the Sun of the Earth-Moon system? Where's that force calculated?
The velocity of the Moon is pointing down. Okay.
Where is the centrifugal force resulting from the Earth's orbit shown here?
It is pointing down.
No, it's not. It's pointing to the right.
The centrifugal force is pointing to the right, bro?
Yes.
The centrifugal force makes something fly away, right?
Yes, and
You mean
the
the
Earth is
centripetal
trying.
forces? Are you trying to say the centripetal force is pointing right? Because that would be drawing it into the Earth in your model.
No,
The
that is
fictitious
not
force.
what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. The Earth has a centrifugal
Notice
force.
how you still haven't answered my question, though? We're still going in a circle.
You asked me if I meant centrifugal force, and I said no. I
No, I'm
mean
talking about the original
centrifugal
question.
force.
I'm talking about why is the Earth able to pull the moon more than the sun is at this moment?
It is not. It is not.
It is. The fact that the moon has a certain distance away from the sun right now, and in a moment after this is unfrozen, it will get further away from the sun because the Earth is drawing it away, means that the Earth is overpowering the sun. That's what that means.
Okay,
That means
and the answer, I understand. The answer to your question is you forgot one force. That's the answer.
So centrifugal force. So hold on. Once again, I answered that question already by saying if we were to just like snap our fingers and delete gravity, right? What direction would the moon continue to fly off in? It would continue to fly down because it has a tangential velocity in that direction right now. Okay.
Which force are we turning off? All of gravity?
Yeah, if we were to snap our fingers right now, because the moon is rotating counterclockwise in this picture, at this very moment, the velocity vector of the moon is straight down. It's the tangent line to the orbit around the Earth, which is down in this direction.
Yes,
if we were to
and the Earth would go straight up. The Earth would go straight up and the moon straight down.
Yep, the Earth would go up and the moon would go down. So once we turn gravity on, gravity is what the Earth is pulling the moon to the right so that when the moon goes down, it continues going down, but it also gets pulled right, and it begins to curve.
That's correct, yes.
But the sun should be pulling the moon to the left, so actually the moon should go down and left because the sun's gravity is stronger than the Earth's. At this moment, they are on axis with each other, so you should subtract the Earth's from the sun, and you should only have one net force on this axis, which is straight to the left.
And
that's
you
not what
forgot the
happens.
force, yes, because you forgot the force that's straight to the right.
What force is straight to the right, bro? It's the Earth's
Centrifugal
gravity.
force.
Centrifugal force.
Yes.
You know, centrifugal is away from the origin, right?
And that is why I'm saying it should be to the right.
What's the origin?
The velocity, angular velocity around the sun.
The moon's orbiting what?
Both the Earth and the sun.
Okay, what is it primarily orbiting?
The sun. Just play this out, play this video out, and tell me where the moon will be 6 months from now.
Oh my gosh, bro. You can't answer the question, dude. You
did.
You have the moon moving towards the weaker force at this moment in time.
Listen, read my lips. All of the celestial bodies within the solar system are orbiting the sun, including the moons and the satellites, artificial and natural. They are orbiting the sun, following their parent bodies.
Following their parent bodies, right. They're orbiting their parent bodies. Their parent bodies are orbiting the sun. That's the only reason you can say that they're orbiting the sun.
They form a system. They're both influenced by the sun. They both have an orbital velocity in the sun's orbit. And the fact that they're orbiting each other, that's just a little dance they do on the side.
Yeah, and if you do it from the frame of the sun, do you know what they all do from the frame of the sun as the sun having the origin?
I can't wait for you to tell me.
Yeah, they oscillate towards and away from the sun as they draw their circles around it.
Yes, they do.
And why are they doing that? Because there's a third body, their parent body, that they actually are orbiting around.
Absolutely, yes.
And at every point in time that they are centered in between the sun and their parent body, the parent body overpowers the force of the sun and pulls them away from it.
It does
That's
not.
the only reason it would get further, bro. Otherwise, it would get closer. That's how gravity works. It attracts.
Okay,
it doesn't
bro.
repel.
Sure, bro. Why don't you come to school during the summer break on Sundays to catch up on physics? That's what your high school teacher would tell you if you told him this.
I'm so
you can
honored
say the
that
same thing about Saturdays, P. Y'all closed that down.
Okay, hey,
y'all move.
all right, let's change the topic because this is just silly. Hey, Alan, what do you
Nice
think
job,
about the
Piezo.
debate?
Piezo made his point, by the way, very well, and
He
you
nailed
totally
it.
avoided
He
it,
nailed it.
and then
Yeah,
acted
he nailed
like
it.
he didn't know something as a defense. That was
I
sad,
agree.
bro.
I surrender. Hey, Alan, how was the debate? What do you think about it?
Nah.
Our debate.
What we gonna do? We gonna get to the
You're
hands.
mistaken if you think I'm talking to you. I'll talk to Morg1. I just listened to you for 2 hours go
Oh,
through
okay.
complete
I'll
dog
listen to
shit.
the
No,
two
thank
of you.
you.
Why don't you discuss with him?
So this is what we're gonna do because I think Liliana's been patient. So we're gonna hear from Liliana, and then I think someone else had their hands up. I can't really see right now. But go ahead, Lily.
Oh, hey, Mordovan, you have been christened King Glober. Isn't that cool? Shane gave you that name. I thought it was cool. Kind of reminded me of King Cobra. But anyways, I think so far, Mordovan, at least, from my observation, you have comported yourself, conducted yourself in a pretty honorable way, at least in the spaces, and you haven't resorted to, this kind of slimy behavior where it's just full of hubris and cutting people off, and just exactly what we saw Peter do just now with Piezo. So, Piezo, Peter, the way you just conducted yourself, I just hate to tell you this. I don't have any hatred towards you or anything, but I just want to tell you that from an observer's point of view, your behavior, just comes off as being, and I'm not accusing you of any of this. I'm just telling you what it looks like, okay, to an observer, to just a neutral observer.
Hit me with the truth bomb.
No. Just don't interrupt when others are speaking. That's very rude. You come off as being extremely hubristic, like you know everything, and you come off as if you like to, you seek to dominate others, which is totally slimy. Anyone that looks to dominate someone else, that is so slimy. And then the other thing is you resort to really immature, dirty tricks, like cutting people off and calling them names and say, "Oh, Stone ran away. Oh, Stone ran away." And you know something? Yeah, thank you for just being more slimy.
Hey, so did you,
immature.
Pete. You did too, bro. There's a reason why you don't hold that space no more. Go ahead, Lily. Keep cooking.
Well, I just want to tell you that you know what it looks like to me? That you're extremely jealous of Stone because he's so articulate. He has such great command of the English
That's me
language.
confusing him with me. I'm the one that's
And he's multilingual. He's extremely knowledgeable, even of your model. He can point out to all the holes in your model simply because he is more familiar with your model than you are. You literally, all you do is regurgitate everything you've been taught. You haven't questioned the holes in your own model. So I'm just trying to give you some advice. If you want to be a King Glober like Mordovan, maybe you should start conducting yourself a little bit more like he does. Because honestly, I think at this point, I can't hear anyone that's talking over me. So just stop it, please.
Hey, next Liliana requested not to be interrupted or interjected. This is not a back and forth. Next person that come off might get dropped. Go ahead, Liliana.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah.
I want to set the record straight.
Who is that again?
Don't know. Can't see him anymore. Continue, my ambassadress.
I think it might be retard because I think retard.
Yeah, he already got
Peter
sent. You're good.
They're cut from the same cloth. Because retard acted exactly or even worse than Peter did. I mean, it was just really funny to watch retard spiral. I kept like hitting that laughing button like over and over and over because it was hilarious. But anyways, I just want to say that, Peter, in spite of your bad behavior, the fact is that interesting stories always have villains. And so you're the villain here. But just remember that villains are always like slimy. So, you'll just get out of here with a slimy, greasy vibe. and piezo and stone come off as, heroes. So there you go. Oh, you can have my mic back, Sacred. I'm done.
Hey, Liliana, I really appreciate that because I believe that you are honest in your critiques. You gave positive comments towards one globe earther, and you gave some criticism to another. So, in my estimation, that's pretty fair. So, I could appreciate that, and that's why your voice is, really appreciated here in Flat Earth Fridays, Liliana. Thank you so much.
But I mean, I don't claim to be right. I'm just saying this is what it looks like, so.
Yeah, I respect everybody's opinion. I respect everybody's beliefs too. I'll give Peter a chance to respond if you'd like. If not, then we'll go to some other hands.
I yield the remainder of my time to Mordwand. I would love to hear him discuss with Alan our debate.
Well, I'll let Mordwan if you want to respond to whatever Liliana said. If not, we're going to go to the hands because she did address you as well.
I accept the title from Shane. I would hope so, given the amount of money that I've sent him. So.
Oh, wait, hold up. You're the one that bet Shane?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Oh, shout out to you. Yo, listen, bro. Hey, wait a minute, bro. I did not know that was you.
Yeah.
Bro, yo, that is honorable, bro. Like, that's a pretty penny, bro. But hey, shout out to you. I don't know if you want to explain that real quick since you brought it up. I don't know if you want to, but that like that's just the fact that you're sticking to your word, bro. Like, I really respect that for real.
Yeah, I mean the short story is don't make $10,000 bets in Discord servers with very little requirements.
Hold on. But what was the actual bet? Because I heard something from other people, and I don't want to really take their word from it.
Oh, sure. This is fun. So I just said you can't predict an eclipse at Sydney, Australia. That's all I said, and I said I'll give you $10,000 if you can. And
like doing what? Using a globe model?
No, I didn't say anything about a globe model. I didn't say anything about a flat Earth model either.
Oh no, you didn't put your own fine print in.
That's what was implied, though. Let's be honest.
There was no fine print, homie. So that was the thing. But you know what? It is what it is because math has rewarded me well in life, so it's not that big of a deal.
Well, and, also, Mordawan, one thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go, Liliana.
Sorry. Mordawan, the other thing too is, I like the fact that you have the humility to admit that you have learned from Globers and you felt that it was worthwhile, giving your money because you did learn. And I really appreciate you for that. And honestly, like, to me, like, I hold you in high esteem because you don't have that kind of hubris that most of these other people I notice have. So anyways, I think that's really good.
Well, I mean, flat earthers have motivated me to potentially go get a PhD in physics, or a master's. So thanks, Flat Earth.
Look at the Flat Earthers inspiring the Globies, man. I like it, man. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Let's get it.
Hey, you gonna get yours before I get mine, Morwan?
Uh-oh.
What's up?
I said you're gonna get yours before I get mine.
I don't know, man. I want to do a PhD thesis trying to replicate the Wang interferometer now.
Oh, I was talking about masters. I'm not doing the PhD route, dude. That's I don't like the way academia is. Masters is gonna be the peak for me.
Hey, that's cool, man. Yeah, masters to PhD. I got to finish my first PhD, so and it's masters is the way to go, to be honest. And you get a master's in physics, you're fucking golden, man. Or applied math or engineering. Yeah, that shit's the best, man.
Yeah, engineering is my taste. Yeah,
it'll do you well. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Keep pushing, Morwan. I know you're gonna get it. I think Brock, were you up next, Brock? I think so.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one with my hand up.
Go for it, bro. Yep.
Yeah, so I don't want to be the one to bring it up. I was hoping it'd come up naturally, but could we talk about the spacewalk a little bit? Like, first thing I noticed, it was a little cringy when they all pulled up in the Teslas with the spacesuits on. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw them, that part, them entering, and then I clipped in right when they were launching off, and in about 3 minutes or 4 minutes and 30 seconds, it starts showing like the boosters on the right screen, and it keeps like every 5 seconds it flashes back between like the same like constant image back and forth for at least a minute. I took a video of it. I could post it, but I don't know. I'm just curious about everybody's thoughts on it. With the whole them going out, the depressurization, and them, just sticking their head out the top. It kind of sounds silly, and this is just total speculation on my part, but it almost looked like it was like a robot. Like why wouldn't he send robots out there to test it before human testing if they're trying to test it for the first time? And it looked like one of the people that went out, like the left arm was like doing kung fu fighting. It was like left right, like I don't know. It's up for speculation for everybody. And then like they had a lot of pictures. It almost looked like an egg shaped earth, and then they had quite a few different pictures. So I was just curious on everyone's thoughts on it and what they think.
Hey man, I missed it. Hey, if anyone has a clip, please drop it in the pill or somewhere, or tag me so I could go check it out. I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. It was like, SpaceX's first clip out there, and it was the first non-NASA thing. So, supposedly. I don't know.
Oh, I did think I seen Elon tweet about something was about to happen. I think I know what you're talking about. I still didn't see it. I like to see some visuals. We always love a good chuckle. Y'all tag me, y'all. Let me go check it out.
I'm gonna post it in the Jumbotron, a YouTube link, and I'll tag you, Sacred.
Thank you, brother.
Got it, man. Do you guys mind? I don't mean to I know there's a bunch of hands up, but since my boy Alan's here, I wanted to talk about the debate, if you don't mind. But I do want to respect other people's time. So,
Does anybody have anything to chime in? And I don't even know if Alan even wants to engage right now, but we'll see if he's willing to. But anybody have anything else to chime in? Okay, cool. Anyone else have anything to tap in? Because this might be a bit.
I was about to make one quick comment before they do that.
Go for it.
Yeah, it was going to be because I know Alan's not going to respond to Peter, and I don't actually want to engage with you in a conversation again, Peter. I just wanted to give you the input that you had requested. So as far as the debate, because Alan's not going to probably engage with you at all about it, but I'll give you this. We listened to it, and my opinion, man, is that they were very kind to you. And I think I told Mordwan this the other night because he popped in after the debate just to say hey and stuff. But they were very kind to you because had it been, a different set of circumstances, you would have been called out very directly for some of your attempted rebuttals of their Sanyak positions. Because basically the entire response that you guys had was, hey, you have a Sanyak paper that says that special relativity doesn't work. Well, we found one that says it does work. Here's our paper. But never actually engaged in any of the specifics or explained how or why. You didn't have any specificity to the claim. It was just like, hey, I'm waving a paper in front of your face. Look at this. It exists. And that's not really an argument. If you can't absorb it and, at least regurgitate the point of it, then it shows that you likely don't understand it. And it's a moot point to bring it up in an actual debate context. So I think that they were very nice to you. And I don't think that you had a sufficient rebuttal for anything regarding Sanyak, and then the whole train thing. You were pretty hesitant to answer, and I mean, not to throw you under the bus, but at one point you did say, this was from you. You said it's not fair that you give such a complex problem in the form of a debate, but that's the whole point of a debate, is to show examples that stump you as to why you can't explain them in your paradigm. So to say that that was unfair didn't reflect well.
Thank you.
Just real quick,
best.
just real quick, before you respond, Peter, for anyone in the audience that didn't see, there was a debate between Alan and Shane and Peter and Mordwan, and I think it was, what was it, ether versus relativity or something like that?
It was.
Yeah, so and that was on Jaronism's channel for Debatism.
Yes, sir.
So if you guys want to go check that out, you can go save it and watch later. But that's what they're talking about now. So you can go reply.
Yeah, thank you, Piezo. We've learned from the best regarding debating tactics. Back to you, Mord.
And they purposely obfuscated? No way. Mort, I think you said you want to talk to Alan. Go ahead.
Yeah.
D3, your
There's a
mic's
couple things
on.
we could talk about, man. Do you hear me coming through now? Sorry, I was
No, it's D3's
I'm on my
mic's
server.
on. You're good.
Okay, cool. I guess there's a couple things. I guess for me, what I would have liked to have seen is maybe some. So we got to this idea of to me, the only real difference in our position was whether there was an absolute or whether relativity, as we sort of thought about it in our presentation, would contraindicate the ether in any way. I didn't really see any affirmative evidence to how ether differs from space-time apart from this notion of an absolute frame. And the Sagnac effect too, I mean, it was kind of all about frames. Do you think we could talk about maybe that affirmative side of things on the ether, particularly with respect to, oh God, what's that? It's like a Russian guy's name, right? The Iotovsky? Am I saying that right?
Adsutovsky.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go to my folder here. Let's see. Because I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but the conception of ether would be could you just define what ether is in terms of that? The parameters of the ether.
Yeah, it's the medium necessary for electromagnetic propagation. The properties of it are the electric permittivity and the magnetic permeability parameters for the vacuum would be like physical properties of it, because there's impedance. Like, what's impeding? Well, that, right? So there's some physical properties to it. And then you have Fresnel-Drag's hypothesis. If the ether was a material medium, it would carry the velocity of another material medium with a proportional rate. And then that was measured with 44% with and against velocity of water. So there's that to it. And then there's Yuri Galev, who did the hydroaerodynamic effects analysis of it, where he was using different material shieldings. And then he would have his interferometer aligned north and south. And then he had it on a rotor that would change it to east-west. And what he was doing was monitoring how long it took for the wave bands to settle in between the orientations between the two. So in other words, like when you're parallel and perpendicular to the flow, there will be like a buildup of ether creating a turbulent flow, and then how long it takes for it to settle and go laminar so that the wave bands become coherent again. So what he found was when he changed out different materials for the shielding, the times that it would settle would differ. And so there's oh, go ahead.
Go. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say there's so it was like showing a hydro, or, it's showing that like light's responding to the same properties that you would attribute to gas, or a liquid flowing through a directed tube.
So it's like fluid in some way, right? I mean, like, does this kind of go, okay. So, and then do you kind of think about it? Are you an atomist? Do you think that there's vortex rings that are perturbations in the ether? What do you think?
Yeah, so the vortex ring model sounds cool and all that, but like honestly, I've never been super driven to like look into that and like figure it out or anything, because it's just a model at the end of the day. So it's like I don't want to spend all this time like how many vortex rings fits in the molecular stream, you know what I mean? Because it's like I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. But I'm just curious, like, would you be opposed to representing, say, I don't know, like toroidal, let's call it like a toroidal field in this ether, It kind of goes back to this like Ken Wheeler idea, and maybe the atom is just like a toroidal field, and it sends off vortex rings, and that's what radiation is.
Yeah, I think that's essentially what Atutovsky's model is that there's like
Okay.
it's little vortexes that are made up of little smaller vortexes that are called amers that are 2 times as dense as the ether around them or whatever, so it creates like this perpetual flow situation.
So is mass a representation of the ether in Tsiolkovsky's model?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay, I'm just curious because like there's this whole table, and I posted it in the jumbotron for the purposes of analysis, but there seems to be a lot of really specific parameters, magnitudes, and unit of measurements, and I'm just wondering, in keeping with the scientific method, as we had kind of talked about it, if you could talk me through how those were measured empirically, and what sort of what were the variables involved, and how was that done?
Are you talking about, is it the thing you asked me for the other day? I don't see it in the jumbo, but is it the...
Oh, sorry. I just posted it. Yeah, it's a table. I tagged you as well. Let me see if it came through. Double check for you. Yeah, I just posted it. Literally, it just says now. Parameters of ether in near-Earth space. So I guess I just don't understand the process by which these empirical constants, as they're presented, were measured, and what sort of, if it was a measurement or an experiment, and in what way this substantiates the ether in your view?
Well, if it's the Asutovsky's ether, I still don't see it in the thing, but if it's the thing that I sent you, so what he did for that is all the measurements and stuff and constants are like derived from already established lore, right? So like the energy that a proton has, and all that assumptions that go with it. It's based off of that, and then you take what did he do? The electric permittivity for that portion of it. So it's he forms like a density gradient essentially out of the electric permittivity, and then builds his model of like so like the atomic structure that you were talking about, where it's like a vortex ring within another vortex ring. That's all based off of that, and it's based off of just like all the regular measurements and stuff that are the same stuff that quantum uses for their stuff. So it's just the same exact thing, but just like repackaged differently. That's why I'm not super into it, because it's just like all the same parameters and just like reworking it as a fluid medium. And then it's like, okay, well, we'll make it twice as much dense here. And it's like, I don't give a shit about any of that. And then the other properties were defined from the magnetic permeability for like the heat transfer stuff. And like, that's kind of where I checked out and stopped reading. So